Welcome everybody to an all-new episode of Figure It Out, the show where we blend whatever topic we want with our love for collectibles and figures. This week we'll be breaking down Sci-Fi. We told you guys this was coming. It is, and I did make the promise last week. I tried to get my dad on tonight. He said maybe the next one he'll join. So we'll leave the sci-fi fantasy in hopes that he joins that one.
Crow.
I mean, I won't say I did everything possible to avoid for him to be on this show, but
You're an evil child. You're a bad kid.
The worst. But no, as you guys see, we have a packed panel tonight, starting off with Pete. What's going on, Pete?
What's up, everybody? Yo, I have to say, this is probably one of the most difficult categories you ever put forth, because I'm sitting there trying to make my list and there's just genres crossing over every which way. Sci-fi fantasy, sci-fi horror. I'm like, I'm annoyed already. Right? I'm pretty annoyed.
I had the same thing.
To me, what makes it more frustrating than horror is, we said this when we did our horror show. Mm-hmm. Suspense is its own thing. Thriller is its own thing, but we can kind of group it, right?
Yeah.
There are elements of sci-fi that you look at and you're like, well, this is totally sci-fi. And then you click on it and it's like, nope, I'm action adventure. It's like, how? Like, where did you go wrong? So sci-fi is not easy.
I'll try to elaborate a little bit more when we start getting into like the top fives, but I had to pick a good shirt for this one. It's a science. You've been warned.
Nice.
I love it. Next up, Jaydee, what's going on?
What's up, Streamland? How we doing out here today? Welcome, bienvenue, guten Tag, all that other stuff. You know, trying to make it open space.
Buongiorno, bonjour.
Buongiorno. There we go, baby.
We are reaching everybody. Look at this. We are reaching everybody. Knowing our luck, we'll get comments that are all in different languages we don't speak.
Good.
Thumbs up.
You know what? It forces us to learn, or at least use Google Translate. I mean, it's
well, I tell you what, I've been watching the show Queen of South. And I tell you, I've been really trying to learn all my Spanish from that show.
Wait, can I say really quick? So, like, a few weeks ago, I got to interview these two cast members to the show Who Killed Sarah. And Who Killed Sarah is like entirely in Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish. We spoke English and it was fine, but I wanted to like promote it on Twitter and reach like, obviously a different audience. Awesome. So I called my best friend Cindy, who's half Dominican, half Cuban, and I was like, can you help me like concoct a tweet in Spanish? And she's like, yeah, I speak Spanish fluently, but I can't spell it. So I'll ask another friend. So like we had like 3 or 4 different people like checking, because I'm like, I don't want to go on Google Translate. It's gonna like completely fuck it up or something. It's like I had
no matter what, it's messed up. If you watch Narcos on Netflix, right? And
I love that show.
And I'm like, what he said in Spanish is not what's being translated in the
that's what she told me when she went and watched Who Killed Sarah, and she's like, yeah, great show. She's like, but some of that translation isn't correct.
So it's like, I'm stuck. I'm watching the last season of Attack on Titan, right? Mm-hmm. And it's only subtitled, it's not dubbed. And I'm like, I know that's not really what they meant to say.
Not at all. I mean, not at all. And it's crazy because I remember everyone told me in high school, like when we had to pick a language, they're like, Juwaan, learn Spanish. Like, it's going to be very crucial you learn Spanish. And I was just like, no, China's going to take over the U.S. very soon. I'm like, I'm learning Mandarin. So when I tell you I'm fluent only in Mandarin, so one day
are you really though? Because
I am extremely fluent in Mandarin.
Are you serious?
That's awesome. Are you fucking with us?
No, I legit was like one of like 4 people that took that class.
But that's that's a language that most people who aren't, say, from those specific areas in China know. Like, that's amazing. I'm impressed.
It honestly was the only one. It was French, it was Mandarin, and it was Spanish. And I was just like, French, no. And then I was just like, Spanish.
Brittany's taking French right now.
I swear to you, I said to myself, I said, Spanish, I think Dora got me with the basics. I think I can I think I can use my basics to get around. But Mandarin, I'm going to need that. And then it was just like, nope, I have not been able to ever use that ever since high school.
Well,
so
when I was in high school, they were like, you should learn Spanish. And I was like, yeah, but I'm Italian American. I should learn Italian. But no one here speaks Italian. So I like completely lost it. I knew it for like a week when we went to Italy. And when I came back, it's like, who speaks Italian? No one. And I'm like, and now I know nothing.
I tell you what, the most stressful thing is to learn a language and then never have to use it for like a long period of time.
Right.
The worst possible feeling. But yeah. So whoever responds to this episode on YouTube in different languages,
all over the place.
One of us has you covered. Next up, Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What is good?
All right.
I don't really have much.
Classic Joel.
I don't know what you want from me, honestly.
No,
I don't have a spiel.
It's not that. It's that it's because of Zoom. When you do it like that, I never want to jump in and keep going because I'm like, oh, maybe something like distorted and like he's trying to finish. And then it's like, nope, Joel's just always done. Like, it's just going on.
I'm done. I'm not here this bullshit.
D-U-N. There you go.
He's a man of few words, but they are important words.
Very important. That's why I'm like, when Joel speaks, it is important for sure.
Oh no, your green screen's falling.
Pharma there.
I'm gonna try to. This is a bit.
Let that shit drop. Let it drop, baby. Let it drop.
Anyway, no, I'm gonna put this back up. But anyway, welcoming back to Figure It Out, Tia. What's going on, Tia?
Hello, everyone. This is hilarious, John. Just like. I wanted to piggyback on what Pete said, where it was a little difficult for me to come up with like sci-fi things because I'm picking sci-fi. I'm like, that's horror. That's not, because like I was gonna pick say 28 Days Later because I'm like that's kind of sci-fi, but then I'm like no, it's a zombie movie, so doesn't that make it horror? And I'm like, I'm just hopefully my list is okay.
Right.
No, I'm sure it is. I always say best thing to do is when you Google the movies, right in the description, it tells you what it is.
Sometimes I feel like it doesn't describe it properly. I forget which movie I looked at. As you said, it said action thriller, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's a little sci-fi. I don't know.
I'm completely with you. It's one of those that you kind of have to interpret. Like it depends on whatever you're using it for. It fits. You know, like if someone goes, this was a horror movie, it's like, no, it's not. It's definitely just sci-fi. But I mean, if I wanted to use Prometheus in a horror conversation, there's some elements there.
I feel like Prometheus kind of had
as a flick.
What did you say?
Hold on, say it again, Jaydee.
Prometheus is dog shit as a flick.
I love Prometheus.
It should be sci-fi or horror.
I loved Prometheus. I thought Michael Fassbender was great. Oh, that was another thing. I had a bone to pick with Jaydee while I was listening to the Horror Spectacular Part 2, and when he said that he liked the redo of Nightmare on Elm Street, and I almost clicked off. I was driving. I was like.
Yeah. I'm here in sight. I'm here. Fired up. I am a contrarian.
It's okay, Tia, because I get my revenge on Jaydee for that when I do talk Prometheus in this episode. So that'll be a lot of fun.
I hope your dad will team up with me against you.
No, my dad actually did like Prometheus. That I can definitely say. He did enjoy Prometheus. Yeah. Well, I'll say
Fassbender was great in it.
He doesn't support my theory of Prometheus is a better version of what came before it, but he does agree that it's a good movie.
Okay. It was certainly better than what came after it.
That's for sure.
Prometheus 2? I don't know.
I mean, I tell you.
No,
Covenant.
Covenant was so bad.
Covenant, you know what? It's funny because you know how everyone says they didn't like Force Awakens because it was just rehashing what the originals did in Star Wars. Covenant was legit trying to recreate Ripley, and it was just like, all right, come on, guys, like this is super obvious. Like, come on now. All right, let's kick this off. Top 5 best sci-fi movies. I will kick this off, so I'm not throwing anyone to the wolves early on. I'll kick this off, so I can get yelled at early. So for my list, I start off with Cloverfield. Loved it. Loved every ounce of Cloverfield. How it was filmed, the idea that you never see the monster, you don't know what everyone's really running from, you just know that it's scary. Matt Reeves did a phenomenal job with Cloverfield, and I remember I saw the trailer for it, and I was just like, nope, I won't be seeing that shit. And my dad's like, I saw it, it's not scary, it's good. And I remember going, all right, man, let's try it. And I remember just sitting there just like, this is really freaking good. I had my eyes closed for half of it, but it's really freaking good. So to me, Cloverfield definitely deserves to be on that list.
Next, fun fact about that, by the way, Juwaan.
Yeah.
Apparently none of the cast members got the actual script of what they didn't know the movie that they were filming or anything like that. It was a complete mystery.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves did a great job with that. Let Me In definitely was the first time that I was just like, I don't know who this Matt Reeves guy is, but I like what he does.
Is that the one with the vampire?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too.
That was Chloe Grace Moretz's first big movie before Kick-Ass.
Check out the original too.
Sorry. Say it again.
Check out the original too. I think it's a Swedish. Yeah, Swedish.
Okay.
Yep.
Put that on my notes now. Hold on. All right. Next up, I'm going Edge of Tomorrow, the movie that should have been better if they had even an ounce of a marketing department.
Is that the movie that has 2 titles to it?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yep. And the crazy thing about Edge of Tomorrow is the trailer does not give you a clear idea on what that movie is actually about. So the trailer kind of makes you think it's an action. What's that movie with Bill Murray? Groundhog Day. Right. It makes you think it's an action Groundhog Day. So it's kind of like, well, we've kind of seen stuff like this before. A lot of people are like, I'm not really interested. But if you actually sit through that movie, it's not entirely that, really. There's a lot more layers to that movie. So that's why when it came out on DVD, everyone was just like, oh shit, I should have saw that in theaters.
I enjoyed that movie. That was a good flick.
I definitely did. I don't know how they do a sequel to that, but I am very interested to see where they can go with this movie. Next up, I have Looper. Looper was so well done. Rian Johnson. That's why when he got all that shit for Star Wars, I was just like, but he is a good director. like maybe he doesn't need to be in Star Wars, but directing, he's really good at that thing. That movie had so many feels, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis they were on their A game in that movie. And I always love how they can distort someone's face to where you kind of know it's them, but it doesn't really look like them. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, they did an amazing job with his facial visuals.
That was prosthetics, right? They didn't CG him. Like
prosthetics?
I think so. Yeah, I think I remember seeing something like that. They just made up like his schnoz to look like Bruce Willis. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they did a really, really, really good job with that. And I don't want to go too much into the movie, spoil it for anyone, but really, really, really good movie. If you have not seen it, please go check it out. I also have Planet of the Apes, and the version that I'm speaking of is the one with James Franco, the first of that trilogy.
Where's my shut off button?
We are not going to disrespect that Planet of the Apes movie.
Are you
thing
kidding?
Beautiful.
I think that people expect you to put the first one, the original.
No,
I would have rather you said the Marky Mark Planet of the Apes than
yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. I know my aunt loves it. I know people do love it. I'm sorry. I tell you guys all the time, I'm very much a in time person. So it's like to know that they yelled cut and then one of the monkeys just did this and then went, whew, can I get a coffee? I hate it. I like the idea of knowing that they look like actual monkeys or apes rather. That means everything to me.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the feels of that movie where Caesar first talks, it's just everything about that movie is just so freaking well done. And a lot of people forget this. Matt Reeves did not direct that first one.
No.
He directed the last two. And I do favor the first over the last two. But that's just because I think they're all high up there. So it's like, you can go either way.
Between this and Kong, you got like a real simian thing going here, man.
Yeah.
No, because you know what it is? It's the way, and it's crazy because I don't like any of the Kong films outside of this New Age one. I don't like any of the Planet of the Apes movies outside of this New Age one. It's the feeling that you get from Caesar and Kong in these that I don't feel like you really got with the other ones.
Wait, so you don't like the 2005 version of King Kong with Adrian Brody and Jack Black and everything?
I enjoyed that.
That was a really good one. I love the feel of it.
I didn't.
No.
Not that I didn't like the movie. I didn't like the feel I got from Kong. I really do like Kong being a very much sympathetic kind of character that ultimately just wants to be left alone. I just want to be left. Like, that's it. That's really it. He's the grumpy old, like, just leave me alone. So I like what they've been able to kind of conjure from that. So Planet of the Apes, the James Franco one, makes my list. My last two are, I put Terminator on there. Had to put Terminator on there. I don't think I've ever thought jacket and shades look cooler on an individual. Still to this day, like me and Joelle actually saw the last one that they made in theaters, and I did enjoy it. I'm not comparing it to anything because I don't think that you should. But I really did enjoy it. I left there going, this is really good. I had a fun time with it. It sucks that they probably won't continue with any of those characters outside of probably Arnold. But I did truly enjoy it. And it sucks to hear that there was commotion between the directors, James Cameron and the guy that did the first Deadpool, I think it's Tim
Miller.
Tim Miller, thank you. They did not agree on anything about that movie, but whatever they gave us, I did truly enjoy. And last up, this is the one that I know I'm gonna get yelled at for, but I don't care. I freaking loved it. I'm putting iRobot on this list.
I thought that was a classic. I didn't understand that people like disliked it until social media age. I always grew up thinking people loved that freaking movie.
I tell you what, T, I love that you say that because the social media age will shock you. Like they'll come out and say like the craziest thing. You'll go, I didn't know people thought that.
Juwaan, that's all the time growing up. Like I really liked the movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess because I never like talked to anyone about it, I was like, I like the movie, and all of a sudden I get people like, I hate it, F it, blah blah blah. Same thing with like same thing with the Star Wars prequels. It's like, what? And I'm like, I didn't realize people dislike these things until freaking I got on Twitter, and I was like,
what am I even doing on this show?
Shocked.
But, I'll meet you halfway there, Tia. I liked League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I mean,
I love it.
I don't know. That was hard for me.
It sucks that the studio never had faith enough to even attempt a sequel to that.
I know.
That's why I like Dreadful so much. It reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah.
The real Dreadful, Tia. That one.
But I will say, fun fact, I did not know this till maybe last week because of the USA channel. I didn't know Alan Tudyk was the robot. I had no idea. Just found out last week when USA was like, do you like Alan Tudyk? And it's like, I do. And they were like, watch him in iRobot. And I was just like, as who? And they were like, the robot. I was just like, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
I love the interaction with your TV that you just had.
I'm like, I do like Alan. How did you know?
Alan was the chicken in Moana. That's how talented Alan is.
He is so freaking good. And I will say this, because as you guys can kind of see, outside of Cloverfield, there is some form of a sentimental connection with all these movies. That scene where Will's talking to him in the interrogation room, love it. I think that's one of Will Smith's best performances.
Solid flick. Solid flick. I'm with you on that. I like it. I don't think it makes my top 5, but I really, really like it. I appreciate that flick.
Yeah.
You know, well written, well acted, well directed. I love Jean Triplethorn. Not oh my God, not Jean Triplethorn. The one that hates Tom Brady. Whatchamacallit? What's her name?
Me.
Everybody here.
She's the scientist that she hates Tom. Anybody that hates Tom Brady, I like them. So, you know,
I tell you what, as long as he's in Tampa Bay, I hate Tom Brady. So I'm with you. So the day he retires, then I love him again. Yeah. But no, that movie is definitely special to me. It comes on Stars all the time, and I appreciate Stars for that. Because I feel like it doesn't really come on anywhere else. So I'm like, thank you, Stars. Money well spent. Yeah, so that's my top 5. So I, Robot, Prometheus, Cloverfield, Planet of the Apes, Terminator, Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, no, that's way past 5. Sorry. Completely forgot how to count.
One of them was an honorable mention. You're good.
Yes, perfect. We'll say that, but I definitely just forgot how to count. See, I'm going to pass it to you.
Good job, Juwaan.
My teachers would go, I knew it. I knew he was not smart. I was telling him.
I said it all the way back then.
I called his mom daily and was just like, he just doesn't get it, ma'am. But no, Tia, I'll go to you next. What's your top 5 for Sci-Fi?
So I have like a really just weird list, and I have resigned myself to just realizing that what I like is just probably not what anyone else likes, and that's okay with things. So my list is going to be, I have to put Snowpiercer on it. I love that movie.
All right.
It's, I think, my favorite Bong Joon-ho, film. I love Chris Evans in that role. I love the concept. I have actually just started watching the show. I'm sorry, Jaydee, you were going to say something? Yeah, I just started watching it. I mean, it feels different than the movie, but I have to expect that it would, considering it's not directed by the same person, yada yada. But just love Snowpiercer. I didn't think I was going to. I thought the concept was going to be a little too weird for me. But then when you just like watch it and you get into the actual story, it's one of my favorite movies.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was a comic book that came out in the 70s.
I didn't know that at first.
It was a French comic book, yes.
Yeah, and then I learned that, and I was like, that's so cool. And again, as you said, Jaydee, the show is good so far. I'm still in season 1, but I'm liking it as I go. The next one I have to do is Donnie Darko, just because, that was like my era growing up. Every angsty goth teenager like myself liked Donnie Darko, so I have to put that down. Another is, I really like the movie Splice. I don't know if you guys remember it.
Yeah. Natasha Henstridge?
Yeah. Like you guys like it, but if you go online, people hated that movie. And I'm like, this is what I'm saying. I go online and I'm like, sorry, apparently my taste is trash.
I apologize. I confused it with Species. Species was in Natasha Henstridge.
I knew what you're talking about, Jaydee. That's right. I was like, that's what you're talking about, because they made like 3 or 4 of those.
But Splice felt like it was like not a sequel, but like it felt like it continued the same vein, because it was genetic engineering with aliens, right?
Right. Really quickly, T, I do want to say the biggest reason why I think Splice gets a lot of flack is the same reason I think Shape of Water gets a lot of flack,
because of the weird sex scene.
No, well, yes, very weird sex scenes in both of those movies, but more specifically, if you're not paying attention to the story, which is very not hard to keep up with, but you have to actually be willing to pay attention to it.
Right.
The look of it is just so weird. I think it took a lot of people out of it. So I think a lot of people, I think more people can tell you what the movie looked like and less about what the movie was about. And I think that's the disconnect, because they just look at it and they're like, the visual, creepy, don't like it, movie was horrible. So when you actually sit and watch Shape of Water, which is very weird, but good story. Same with Splice. They're actual good movies, but just the visual of it, if you're not paying attention, easily someone can say that that's horrible. So I think I think it's just a disconnect of not paying attention.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, you're most likely right there. And then my last two are going to be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Don't know if you guys ever saw that, but I really enjoyed that. It's with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, and it's like a really trippy, weird movie that I just absolutely loved when I first watched it. And my last one is very weird, and again, my taste is just weird apparently, and it's going to be the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because yes, that's sci-fi, and I love that freaking movie.
That is
Yeah,
sci-fi.
it is considered sci-fi because they're aliens, actually aliens.
Yes.
So it is and I think there's even a song in it where they're like sci-fi. No, actually, the intro song is they call it a sci-fi picture show. Yep. So it's like that. That's my odd list there.
Okay,
I like that list. I like it a lot. Nice. It definitely feels like deep cuts because I still have not seen, and I know Tia, I still have not seen Snowpiercer. So it's like,
dude, solid flick, man.
Shocking.
Solid flick.
I'm gonna get to it.
Chris Evans is so good in it. Yeah. Like that was the movie that I saw of his while he was in the middle of playing Captain America. That I was like, give Chris Evans other things other than Captain America. He's so good. He can like really lead the charge in a movie, and the concept is just so good. Juwaan, a whole like take away the idea of the whole world is in the middle of a ice age and they're on a train for 17 years. It's this one cart of people being treated like dog shit, being, killed, given barely any food, while the rest of the cars are living in like lavish luxury. And when they even try to ask for scraps, they're like, you should just be lucky that you're even here, that we even let you on the train. So it's like just this whole great like revolution sort of story, and it's so good, and visually it's amazing. Again, Chris Evans is great.
I will say, luckily you had me at Chris Evans, so
I didn't need to sell you on all the other things. Just Chris Evans.
All the other stuff was just like, oh, okay, no, you had me at Chris Evans. But no, I actually did. Oh, go ahead.
And you would have appreciated my honorable mention. I considered putting Push down. I was like, Juwaan would have liked that.
Push so bad, Tia, so bad.
Push down. I don't know that one. What is that?
Push is with Chris Evans, where they have like the genetics and
okay,
telekinesis. Yeah, that was a good play.
Okay.
Yep.
It was like it was the lesser known Looper.
Yes.
No, not Looper. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jumper.
Oh yes, I like Jumper more actually, personally.
Look at Juwaan, he's like, how dare you?
Well, no, I mean, I appreciate that because Jumper will be mentioned from Juwaan in this episode. So I appreciate that. And you guys know, Hayden Christensen, anytime that man's in something, I'm probably the only one in this movie. I think it was Speak or something like that with Jessica Alba, where he was like in a coma the whole movie. And she was like trying to, well, I won't spoil it, but yeah.
Oh, the one on the death bed. He was in a hospital bed.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Terrence Howard, Jessica Alba. I was like, Dad, we got to go see this. He was like, why? I'm like, Darth Vader is in it. Like, take me. Just shut up and take me. Even Takers. I love Takers with him in it too. That was a really cool.
Good.
Yeah, that was a really cool cast. But no, so I am glad Joel said that, but stop disrespecting Push, sir.
Not disrespecting.
Juwaan, I think the podcast that we did with Push is still like our most successful podcast ever.
You know what? I was so happy because I'm like, there are others. It's like,
there are others there.
Like when Wanda finds more mutants, like that's how I feel every time. I'm like, people really did love this besides me and Tia. Like, people enjoyed this. And it's because everybody is now a way bigger star than they were when they first did that. So we'll never get a sequel to that damn thing. But all right, moving us right along, Jaydee, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Oh,
make your list.
Gracious. Okay. So it's hard not to mention, the great epic that is the very first 1977 Star Wars film. I mean, it for me, that's it. I was never a Star Trek guy. That was that was the epitome of a hero story for me. After that, well, we got the second Ripley film, Aliens. Just the whole troop, the Colonial Marines and that truck that now goes for like $500 from Haya. That tank, I love that. It was about a mom trying to get her, protect her kid. And so even from the aliens' point of view, the Queen, so after that, this one is like a tie because I kind of feel one is a spiritual successor of the other, but Total Recall and Running Man, it just feels like one can go right into the other, and I mean, they're great fucking flicks. And I didn't find out until recently that Running Man was a Stephen King fucking story. I was like, are you kidding me? So that's awesome. And
Jay,
then,
I have to chime in, and you're going to understand this one.
Yeah.
That was my guy. Dynamo was my guy.
Yeah.
I got that shirt somewhere, and I was going to wear it.
Oh my God, dude. Just the lights and the opera. It's fucking great.
Yes, the opera.
But I mean, in Total Recall, who doesn't today in this age still use the word Quado for describe who the fuck is that Quado? I mean, look at no, doesn't bite. It doesn't carry over. It's my age group type of deal.
Sorry.
I didn't go for that one.
I will say, Jaydee, on the Total Recall point, I know. But what got me into Total Recall was the remake with Colin Farrell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So
I thought Jaydee was gonna be like, oh, so where's the mute button?
Because to me,
I'm
I'm not saying it was better. I'm just saying I saw that and I was just like, okay, let me see what the original was talking about. Like, it took for that for me to go, okay, all right, I'll go back.
Okay. This is definitely going to say my age. It is a long film. It is a boring film, but it set the trend for so many cinematic looks.
Space Odyssey?
Which one?
Space Odyssey? I'm trying to guess what you were gonna do.
That's what I thought you was gonna say.
No, that's even more boring. No, I'm gonna go Blade Runner.
Oh.
The Megalopolis in Blade Runner, how many elements have almost every Japanese anime thing. It doesn't even have to be outer space sci-fi. Just has that megalopolis look, right?
Yep.
What was the movie? The 1,000 Planets. What was it?
1,000 Worlds.
That was oh man.
Yes. Whatever. The guy that whatever. Okay, so we'll move on because that's something else. So Blade Runner, because it was a Shakespearean flick, because at the end of it, you were really on Rutger Hauer's side. You know what I mean? He was just trying to live. He was trying to get away for his cyborgs or androids, replicants, whatever they were called. He just wanted them to live. So there's that one, and Buckaroo Banzai.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Peter Weller, pre-RoboCop. He played a Japanese guy. I don't know.
Oh.
So
back in the day.
But he was a rock star. He was a scientist. He had a gang of guys that had a cowboy, fucking a father and son that they were plumbers. Yet they built science fiction ray guns and John Lithgow acting like this crazy Russian scientist that got possessed. So there's that, and then my honorable mention is The Fifth Element.
I was just gonna say that. I love The Fifth Element
because that's what this guy wanted to do before he did the 1,000 Planets, whatever the hell that flick was. Blade Runner was supposed to be one of those things, and it had the megalopolis. I mean, fucking Bruce Willis ordered takeout right to his fucking window.
You gotta start patenting things like that when you do it. But no,
Jay, I want to know. I'm sorry, Juwaan.
No, go ahead.
Which version of Blade Runner? Because I know there's like the regular one, the theatrical, the director's cut, and then there's like the other director's cut that came out later.
All right, so I'm gonna go with the Channel 11 cut.
Okay.
Whatever it was that, because that's I grew up poor. I didn't get to see a lot of flicks in the movie, so I would see that one on Friday nights because it was a long runtime. But I did go to see the last final cut of it in the theater, and I didn't see anything different. There was definitely more allusions to Harrison Ford being the Blade Runner.
Yeah, that was the big difference I heard.
Yeah, Edward James almost knowing it the whole time. That's another thing. You had a Mexican dude who was only speaking Japanese the whole flick, and you're just like, and there were no subtitles. You're like, what the fuck is going on here, man? Excuse me. He was a Mexican dude playing French that only spoke Japanese. So
talk about a conundrum. No, I like that list, and I like what you said about Blade Runner because I definitely felt that. I felt that with both of them. I felt that with the original, and then I felt that even more with the Ryan Gosling one. I was just oh, there's a lot of story.
It was a lot of story. It could have been trimmed down a little bit more.
I have to stay up through either of them.
Yeah, and you know what? It made me laugh because the big talk was right around when that came out, right after that came out. Everyone was saying like, this director should do Batman Beyond, or he should do a Batman movie. And I was just like, with all this fucking story, absolutely. Are you serious?
That's too much.
During a Batman
Stay the fuck away.
Yeah, I'm like, hell no, I don't want. But I will say, for Batman Beyond, that man can do futuristic. I mean, futuristic looked really good. But no, I don't need that much story. My dad always yells at me because whenever I say I don't do that much story, he's like, but you love Godfather, and that's only story. And I'm like, yeah, touche. Okay.
Listen, there's exceptions to the rules. Like, you have to kind of love Godfather, even if it is like 3 hours long, even if it is like all this story and everything. Jaydee is shaking his head, and he's going to be blasphemous right now.
Yeah, I am going to be.
Disrespect Godfather, your tongue slowly rolls to like the back of your throat. Like, that's just the rumor I heard. If you disrespect,
so I will say, prior to today's episode, I was watching the second Godfather. Right, I stopped the last half hour. It was on one of the cable streams, and yesterday we were watching part one, and it just, I'm not an Al Pacino fan. That's it. What? I like everybody else but Al Pacino. Yeah.
The best scene in the first Godfather, to me, at the very least, is when freaking the sister's husband is beating on her, and Sonny comes running, like hits him with the freaking trash can and everything. Like, for me, in the first Godfather, like, Sonny was my favorite character.
What I love most about Sonny is when he goes, "What happened to you?" And she's like, "Oh, no, it's fine." And he's like, "No, what happened?" And then he's just like, "Where is he?" And she's like, "No, don't do anything." He's like, "I'm not gonna do anything." It's cool. And then he rolled up on him and beats the dog shit.
That's it. So my two favorite characters in the entire Godfather epic, and I'm not counting part 3.
There is no part 3.
Yeah, no. Is Sonny and Robert De Niro's flashback scenes as Vito. I will watch 2 movies based on just those 2 actors playing those 2 parts. I don't think anybody else could have pulled those parts. And
that's fair.
I know we're talking this, but to see Bruno Kirby again, young, I mean, forgetting that he was in there. Bruno Kirby is, Bruno Kirby is an unsung character actor. He was one of our pigeons from Animaniacs. He was in City Slickers. We lost Bruno Kirby too young, and just to see him in the flashback scenes with De Niro, it was a welcome delight.
I mean, I always go back to leave the gun, take the cannoli. Talk about good dialogue.
Really quick.
It was ad-libbed.
It felt ad-libbed. It was too good to be written. Like that felt like someone was just like, this might be dope as hell to say. But, go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just gonna say the restaurant in the first Godfather where Michael, is talking to like the father of the woman he ends up marrying in Italy and everything. I went to that restaurant. Like it's still there in Italy, which is like really cool. Cool. It wasn't open the day I went because it was like hailing practically because I went around Easter time, but
I was gonna ask you, was there a gun in the toilet? But
I could listen I could take you on a tour of all the Goodfellow locations between Howard Beach and Canarsie. We're out.
All right, so
right in the middle of this.
One last story. I really truly feel like I got out of a ticket one time because I had a copy of Goodfellas in my car. Like the cop is like looking in my car and everything, and I'm just sitting there like, I am intoxicated right now, and it's not the best thing or anything. And then he sees the freaking like thing. He goes, "Is that Goodfellas?" And it's like, "Yeah." And it's like talk. Okay, just it's late. You should go home. And it's like. Goodfellas got me out of a ticket.
That would actually be hilarious to tell somebody that worked on that movie, like, your movie saved me from a ticket, right? Like,
jail
at the very least.
Yeah, jail ultimately for sure. The money, Aaron. Where's the money? Love that movie. God,
I was 22, so I'm 31 now. Much wiser.
All right, moving on along. Pete, I'm gonna go to you. What cracked your top 5?
All right, I went all over the place here, and I specifically tried to stay away from movies with. Every movie has the protagonist, but I specifically tried to stay away from like a more superhero-esque kind of thing. So, not mentioning The Matrix as much as I really enjoyed that movie. So I try to stay away from that, but I do kind of break my own rule later on. But number 5 was absolutely unequivocally The Running Man. It's such an awesome movie, and I saw that for the first time on Channel 11 like years and years ago, and I was like, this is just so dope. And I also was surprised when I finally learned that it was a Stephen King flick. But as always, clap if you love Dynamo. He was my guy. Like, just fucking awesome shit. And
then Richard Dawson as the show host. I mean, perfect casting, dude.
I mean, I never knew him on Family Feud, but still, that was pretty, like, I grew up with Ray Combs, so it was what it was.
Okay. I grew up with Steve Harvey. No, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Listen, Steve Harvey is the best thing to happen to that show.
Nobody ever mentions the guy from Home Improvement, but okay.
Yeah, no
one ever does. No one ever talks about him. Ever. I can't even really find, like, when you type in funniest Family Feud episodes, it's like he doesn't even exist. It's like
he was dry.
Timeline.
His whole thing was dry. His whole character was dry.
And listen, Richard Dawson got some booty. You know, he got some booty after that show. He kissed everybody. I don't care. Black, white, Spanish, Asian, didn't matter. He was like
moms, grandmas, didn't matter none.
You know what I'm saying? Got it.
Number 4, the only movie that can still make me cry, Armageddon.
Ooh.
Okay.
And this has nothing to do. This was long before my father passed away 2 years ago. Armageddon was years ago, and I'm still like, Bruce Willis stayed on the asteroid.
If you didn't cry during that scene, then you have no soul.
I agree.
That's just how it is.
And I mean, Steve Buscemi
you're giving me feels right now. Damn.
Steve Buscemi ruled that movie for me.
I love Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. It's like Captain America landed us on a plate of solid iron. How do you know that? Because I'm a fucking genius. Great.
And let's not forget Michael Clark Duncan. I mean,
that man can do no wrong. He was
but he's
so
up
good.
there and he's got his pants down, and Tom's give him a shot, and you just see that big hunk of ass. Come on, baby, come with it. I mean, Michael Clark Duncan stole that flick from you, man. I'm sorry.
100%.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on this show. I believe it was Saturday when Juwaan, you had mentioned him in Daredevil, I think.
Yep.
And I think he was the only good thing about Daredevil for me. And I was like, that was the first real, race swap for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they doing? And then I saw it and I'm like, I was 100% wrong.
I enjoy Colin Farrell, by the way, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you really?
I really
Who are you?
did.
I don't even know
I
you.
really did. I'm sorry. When he made, I'm telling you what, you say that, but I never thought of weaponizing a paperclip, so he did it, and I was just like, oh yeah, they do unfold like that. Genius. Loved him. Loved his bullshit.
You never made a paperclip bow and arrow with a rubber band and a pencil?
Nope.
What kind of childhood?
You had an easy childhood, apparently.
Time out. You just saw me mess up 5, and you think I was creative enough to do something like that? Didn't have it in me. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tia.
I was just gonna say I saw Green Mile like really late in life, like last year, late in life. And Michael C. Duncan like made me cry in that movie, and it made me really sad that he had passed on because I was like, damn. But anyway, you were saying how Michael C. Duncan was the best thing about Daredevil. I'm like, even though Tom Hanks was in the Green Mile and he was really good in the Green Mile, it's like, who really cared about Tom Hanks in the Green Mile compared to Michael C. Duncan,
100%.
And I just have to say, the best line in Daredevil was, Wesley, go home. But sir, Wesley, I was born in the Bronx. Go home.
Yeah.
This is something you wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel Vincent D'Onofrio takes a lot from what Michael Clark Duncan. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because he wasn't a fat boy. He was just a big,
it was stature,
fucking beastie boy, man.
And what's crazy is Michael Clark Duncan was just a black version of the Kingpin we saw in Spider-Man the Animated Series.
100%.
It's
why I was like, oh my God, they did it. And then it's why when they casted Vincent D'Onofrio, I was just like, they're finding a way in the middle because there aren't many people that are built like Michael Clark.
Right.
No.
So I'm like, I get it. But when you see Michael Clark Duncan, he had the cane, just like Kingpin did in Spider-Man. Everything.
Well, that's why I liked it. Like, I really loved Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of Kingpin, and that's what I loved in the 3rd season when he donned the white suit. I was like, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. And then Netflix was like,
how we can get the cane.
And then Netflix was like, and now I'm taking it away from you. And it's like, fuck you, Netflix.
and listen, you mentioned that Kingpin is Spider-Man the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm.
He was voiced by a black man, right? Roscoe Lee Brown, dude.
There was something real swaggerish about
him. He has a very iconic voice. And I mean, this guy has done, he did a bunch of Disney things. Logan's Run, Cowboys. He did Treasure Island, the animated one. Dude, he, excuse me, his voice is almost as iconic as James Earl Jones. Really. Yeah.
Well, now that I know that, I will definitely put that up there for sure.
Pick him up, yeah.
All right, go ahead, Pete.
Number 3, it's funny. Jay had said Total Recall, and I was tossing between this one and Total Recall, but I went with Terminator 2 because that was just, I was in probably 5th or 6th grade when that came out, and it just blew my mind. Like, I wanted everything Terminator, t-shirts, toys, whatever I could get my grubby little mitts on. That was so dope for me.
After ask you, Pete, do you believe that is the greatest sequel ever made?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. I would be I'd be hard pressed to find a sequel that eclipsed the first one in such a way, because I thought two was better than 1. I really did.
Yeah. The reason why I really want to agree with you is I know everyone listening will immediately go, oh, Godfather 2. But what Pete's trying to say is there's an actual debate you could make about what was better, 1 or 2. There is no debate about what was better, Terminator 1 or Terminator 2. It was cool.
And that's the thing about it is there are times when the sequel is better, for sure. But again, you have to argue the case for the first one. I like Ace Ventura 2 better than Part 1, but that's a whole other.
I think I do too. Like looking back at it, I think I like the second one better.
Too. The second
Austin Powers 2 is better. Oh man, Austin Powers. Is that sci-fi? Can that be considered sci-fi?
Yeah, I guess so.
To a degree.
Number 2, Interstellar. I love that movie, man.
That movie fucking hell.
I love sci-fi movies. I like visuals, man. I like pretty stuff. Like I want to see some outer spacey bullshit, and that movie was chock full of outer spacey bullshit.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I confused Interstellar with Inner Space.
Although I did come across that while looking through these movies, and the first thing I remembered was you just digested the bad guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Honorable mentions, I have to give a couple here. Aliens for one, but I didn't really want to include that in the main list because it was more horror for me, so I stayed away from that one. Another one called Life Force, which is a very unsung 80s movie, but if you've ever seen it, let's just say the main antagonist of that movie, she kind of made you wonder if maybe she just want to get eaten by the alien. Maybe you do.
And Species movie made me say that. It was just
same idea, same general idea.
I will die right now for that woman.
I don't know if anybody saw The Wandering Earth on Netflix, but that was pretty dope. Visually pretty.
Chinese?
Yeah, Chinese flick. Yeah, really cool flick. A lot of cool, outer spacey stuff. And I'll touch more on that later when we go into some more lists. But number 1, bar none, 100%. This is possibly the greatest sci-fi movie ever. And I know I said I was not going to list some superhero shit, but he doesn't have superpowers, so I'm not opposed to putting Flash Gordon at number 1.
Can't do it.
He'll save every one of us.
Damn fucking right.
But not the Jets to a championship.
Brian Bowman, that's Hawkman, is one of the greatest lines.
Oh, man.
Pete, the three of them are like, these motherfuckers.
It's oh god, I would look forward to that movie every time it was on TV. So good.
Yes, sir.
Shit. I love the list, Pete, and I love the honorable mentions. All right, Joel, you're ending us out on the topic. What you got for your top 5?
All right. So you guys took a couple of mine. Well, at least 2 of them. So I'll start with T2 because T2 was on it. Okay. I'll say that's 5, I guess. I love Terminator, especially Terminator 2 specifically. It's probably been the best Terminator movie. Even though I did enjoy that last one you were talking about, Dark Fate. I did enjoy that one.
Okay.
But like we were just talking about, like T2 is like so much better than the first one, and maybe it had a lot to do with the fact that they put a lot more money into that second one, so it looks so much better. But it's like the epitome of like a '90s action movie. It was Terminator 2, so that was my 5th one. Let's see. I have Ready Player One. I really, really dug that movie. A lot. There had some. I mean, there were some people that didn't love it, but I mean, I really dug the shit out of that movie. The whole the premise, the visuals, everything about Ready Player One was like, awesome, and just it was definitely like a fanboy fucking candy shop. You just watch it, and there's so many different cameos for people from different everywhere. They almost show up in this damn movie. So I really love Ready Player.
The fact that they were able to pull it off was like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. In general.
I never thought I'd see Batman and a Gundam.
Right?
Gundam at the end of that movie was so awesome.
They even used Cole. They used the fucking blade from Cole.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
The glade showed up. I was like, I can't believe it.
Such a good movie. I loved it. Let's see. RoboCop. I love. I've said it here many times. I love RoboCop. Grew up with RoboCop. RoboCop's one of my favorite characters, so you'll be hearing his name again. But the movie itself, one of my favorite all-time movies as a kid was that rated R RoboCop movie. And like I've definitely left like Marvel, DC, and like even Star Wars off a lot of this. So I just kept separated. So I'm not including any of those things in this. I have one of my favorite movies, honestly, Pitch Black. I like the whole series.
Nice.
I love the Chronicles of Riddick. I love Riddick in general.
Yeah.
But I love Pitch. I remember the first time I went to go see it, I just didn't know what to expect, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, I want more of this. And he was such a badass character in a world where you're like, he was the bad guy, but you like had to rely on him to survive. It was so awesome. And like Vin Diesel, like killed it as Riddick. So,
I bought the cartoon one and I couldn't get into it. That was supposed to bridge the gap between 1 and 2, and it just didn't do it for me. It didn't. It felt like Aeon Flux. I was lost watching.
It was weird, all the animation. Yeah. It was. I prefer the live actions, obviously, and I think they're making it. I think they're the fourth one when they make it.
Really?
Yes, I think.
I tell you what, the last one he did was really bad. So if you're gonna do another one,
you thought it was bad?
I thought like that.
Yeah. I fair, very fair, very fair. But I was just like, ooh, this is a drop off.
Okay.
It went back to the Pitch Black.
The first one, yeah.
Right. I will say, Joel, I always thank Chronicles of Riddick because it was the first time I ever saw Carl Urban. So it was just like, all right. What a way to start, Carl Urban. But yeah, no, my dad, one of the reasons he wanted to do this episode was to rave about the Chronicles of Riddick. He got the game for Xbox too. He loved that game.
That whole concept is pretty damn cool.
Yep.
So yeah, I love Chronicles of Riddick and the whole universe, you know. And my last one was Juwaan said it earlier, the Planet 8 movies, the newest ones. I do really love the Planet 8, the trilogy. I really dug that whole concept, like 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, that was my final one. And I guess honorable mention, the MonsterVerse, that most recent Godzilla, King Kong. Like I love the whole fucking MonsterVerse, and it ended with a bang with Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong. So yay!
It was solid. It wasn't great, but it was solid.
Yeah, I dug the whole MonsterVerse.
Yeah, I will say, Pete, after we did our episode, I went to, as Tia said before, to Twitter, and I was just like, wow, a lot of people feel like I do, that Kong really got his ass whooped a lot in this movie. I was like, okay, all right. Because apparently I'm a Kong apologist, so it was just like, that's just I'm like, no, he really got dragged this whole fucking
stomped, bro.
What is the whole Kong apologist? Like, are we supposed to hate Kong?
No,
I thought,
what it is Tia, is there's like an overwhelming support for Godzilla because he's just a cooler character, right? Yeah. So I get it. So it's just like no one besides Juwaan thought Kong would at least come close to defeating Godzilla. And, I'm listening to the director go, no. I made sure, I wasn't biased at all. Like both guys have like some really good scenes in this. And I just went, oh, he meant both these guys have good scenes outside of fighting each other. Because fighting each other, there was nothing unbiased about what happened to Kong. So I'm like, I don't know how that writer's room went, but it must have been Joel. Joel must have walked in and went, guys, it's Godzilla. That's a monkey. And everyone was like, yeah, no, you're right. Okay. All right. Yeah,
let's be real here, people. Let's
But no, I do like that your honorable mention is a monster. I just wish Kong, Skull Island, was Sci-Fi to be part of this list.
It's Sci-Fi and
doesn't that count as Sci-Fi? Because it's like realistically, a massive fucking ape isn't real. Like that's Sci-Fi.
As much as I desperately wanted him to, I looked everywhere in every goddamn this list.
Karma, bro. That thing knows you're full of shit. That's why this is falling in.
Everywhere listed it as action adventure.
It's a sci-fi. I view sci-fi as things that like couldn't happen in real life, at least that we know of right now, right?
And there's scientific main characters in it too.
Wait, you said it can't happen in real life?
Like that haven't happened. Like there's no giant ape in real life that's the size of a skyscraper. So it's like that's
a monster.
sci-fi.
Yeah,
you know. So that's how I view sci-fi. It's like all the other things. Like if a movie has flying cars, yeah, we're getting to the part where in life where that may happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
I tell
so
you,
that's sci-fi.
I love how everyone's just like, man, in the near future, we'll have flying cars. I'm like, do you see how stupid these kids are? There's no way we're having flying cars.
Please.
They already got the hover bikes.
Yeah, but if you look back at I think it was like the 1930s World's Fair or something. They're like by the year 2000, you know, they'll have flying cars, they'll have this, they'll have that, and it's like we don't have any of that.
Right. Yeah, we have TikTok. That's
what we have phones that we can start Twitter beefs on and look up porn. And that's about it.
All it's for.
That's all it's for.
to know that Tia will be the person that that describes what phones were used for in the future is hilarious.
It's not wrong.
It's like, Grandma, what were phones used for? It was just just to start Twitter beefing porn. Oh, okay.
And cat videos. Okay. That's about it.
It's like, wow, Grandma, that was a little honest of you. It's like, yeah, no, that's all it was. It was just one big TikTok and porn. That's it. All right. Let's keep this train going. I keep having green screen. This green screen for the life.
What happened? It usually is so good.
You know what it is?
What is going on?
I think the green screen wants to be part of this show so goddamn bad that it's like,
I think the green screen is pissed off at your choices.
I was just about to say it happens with certain takes that I have that the green screen is just like, let me drop down real quick. All right, let's move along. Let's go our favorite sci-fi characters. I'll kick this one off. Terminator has to go up there. It's just too iconic. It just is. I'm actually gonna put I know a lot of us were like, we're gonna stay away from the Marvel DC stuff, but this is one of my all-time favorite characters. I'm putting Silver Surfer on there. I never thought getting Lawrence Fishburne to voice him would have hit me as hard as it did.
Okay.
But it was really good. I really, really, really did like what he brought to that. And again, I will defend that movie and say, excuse me, that the only bad thing about that movie, in my opinion, was the ending. That was it. But I say to people, they won't give Fantastic Four credit for everything leading up to that ending. But those are the same people that will tell you Dormammu was fine in Doctor Strange. It's just like, whoa, hold on. So Galactus can't be a floating cloud, but Dormammu can be one giant face. And the face wasn't it looked the weirdest of all. It was just like, that's Dormammu? Oh,
yeah.
Someone didn't try. There was no trying in that whatsoever. So Silver Surfer definitely makes my list. I'm then going Neo. You have to go Neo.
Oh, we're doing 5 on the heroes?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I only have 1. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
We're going 5.
Okay.
I only have 1 too. I didn't know.
Start brainstorming now, guys.
Start brainstorming. And then I'm ending on my monkeys. I don't care. I'm ending on Kong. Technically, he's part of Godzilla and Kong, so I can add him. And then Caesar. Those are my top 5 sci-fi characters. That just really spoke to me. But Silver Surfer is definitely like the highest on my list. Like, I love me some Silver Surfer.
Yeah, that's a great figure, bro.
Some Silver Surfer.
That's that Marvel
really
figure. Yeah.
Yep.
All over it.
And I can't even lie, Jaydee. Like, I had to get the whole squad. Got Reed, got Human Torch.
That's a sick Human Torch figure, yo.
Right?
Damn. I like the different colors and shit. That is nice.
Yeah, no. That was the first one that came out from that line.
Gotta show Ben Grimm some love. Can't
you know, dude, I was hurt by that Ben Grimm because before that Ben Grimm, there was a Marvel line that came with trading cards that you were playing there like a Pokemon game. Right. But the Marvel figures also had missile launchers. And that thing is the best thing to ever be made in that scale. Look at that face.
I love that. Face. The only thing, Jaydee, that bothers me on that entire figure is how short they decided for those underwears.
I know. But dude, I put this thing against that thing any day of the week. Yeah, man. Look at the face. Look at that face sculpt, and look at this face sculpt on a 1/18 scale figure, bro. Right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing with the thing in the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is not right unless you get this face right. Unless you get that eyebrow and that under jaw, like that Optimus Prime style jaw on a rock face, then you don't have a Fantastic Four movie for me.
And I will say, Jaydee, the most important thing to me outside of that is the voice for Ben Grimm.
You need him to sound like your favorite uncle or something like that. Little gravelly, little bit of Smoker's voice, stuff like that. I know. Yeah.
It's gotta hit.
You gotta see like in New York, you gotta have like that old school Jewish Pickett Avenue type of voice. With your favorite uncle. Because that's what he is. He's from the Lower East Side, stuff like that. He's Jack Kirby, but he's your favorite uncle. He's the uncle that never had kids. He will. He loves all the nieces and nephews in her life. Oh, your thing is rolling. Your thing is running down.
Yeah, he can't have little pebbles. So yeah, he's yeah. He definitely takes on that uncle feel. But yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And Pete, this Human Torch is my favorite. Like they've made some.
That is a great Human Torch. Yeah.
But I love that. It's a design that I was just like, I don't know, Feige. I wouldn't be against that. I would not be against that at all. All right, Pete, I'm gonna go to you next.
Okay.
What's your top 5?
So I left myself a rule that if I mentioned it in the movie section, I did not mention it in the heroes section.
Obviously, now you're making it difficult for you, bastard.
Nobody's better than Flash Gordon, so we can't, there's no contest then. Like, come on, let's be fair here. So
the Phantom.
Oh man, motherfucker! I didn't even think of that, but he got superpowers though, so that's a whole other. Billy Zane, by the way, is fantastic. I mean, you want to talk about an actor with range, shit, and that's a dope flick. And I just ordered those toys from Big Bad Toy Store. They were sold out of the Phantom. I had to get the 3-pack of Flash, Ming, and the Phantom. I don't care. It's on sale for $90 instead of I think it was like $130 or something. So I was like, frig it. Even if I sell Flash and Ming later, at least I got Phantom. I don't care.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
The Defenders of the Earth set?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if we were including animated characters in this, so that's a whole other. Maybe we could do even another show on that, but I'll mention them as I go along. Okay. I left Neo out, but I did want to include Morpheus because Lawrence Fishburne is the man in every single thing that he does. And I'm like, damn, do I want to bring him from Event Horizon? Do I want to bring him from...
Bro, if he's good, he's good. Go for it.
Man. He's fantastic. And he's another one with that, like, very iconic voice, too. Like, he just kind of instills a command, like, when he talks to you. Mm-hmm. Another one, John Spartan from Demolition Man. Sylvester Stallone. And it was a toss-up, like, do I want to throw that in with the movie? Nah, I'm going to save it, and I'll just throw Sylvester Stallone in there.
I love it.
Taking a page out of Joel's book, RoboCop. Had to throw him in there. Yeah. Alex Murphy, for sure. Dredd.
Yes.
What's his Carl Urban. Dredd. Fantastic.
Love it.
Honorable mention, I got to give to my man, Wally. The little car. I love that little guy.
Okay.
Wait, Wally from the movie?
Yeah.
I never thought I'd have like such an emotional connection to a robot. But when I saw that, I was like, Wally.
He's so cute.
You know what I always notice? I always notice this, right? It's like I said this a while ago about Shrek, how like it was obvious that when these studios make animated movies, they make the dialogue for the parents to keep them entertained and the visual clearly for the kids. I'm noticing more and more all these Disney movies that come out are uber emotional to get grown men and women crying Meanwhile, the kid's just like, yay! And they're looking at you like, why are you crying?
Also,
like,
the Wally though was like so on point, like from an environmental standpoint. We're like, oh yeah, look, we're really destroying the earth.
And after this pandemic, all of them, people that when we saw the people that were just fat and sitting in the chairs, that's exactly where we're headed. That's exactly where we're going.
Somewhere there's a Wally. There's a Wally sitting there just like,
yeah. Somebody's got one of those trash cans that you just wave your hand over and it opens up. That's like pre-Wally right there.
That is pre-Wally.
The best scene in that movie is the guy who finally gets out of his chair and he can't walk.
But no, I like that you put Wally there because that movie does hit you in the feels. It's not close. It's nowhere near Up. Up is the ultimate adult feel.
That hurts.
Do you know
in the first 5 minutes?
Yes.
Do you know I have never seen Up?
Don't watch it
ever.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
No, because I know what it's about, and I had a great grandparent who suffered from Alzheimer's, and I was like, I can't watch that. What are you talking about? I can't see that shit. That'll fucking rip my heart out. So I stay away from Up.
It's beautiful, Tia, but it is rough on the heart. I mean, rough. I didn't understand it when I'm trying to think how maybe a teenager when that came out. I didn't really understand it. It wasn't until I got older and rewatched it, I was just like, how did I not cry not even once watching this shit? This hurts. So no, I'm glad Wally made it on the list. I'm just thinking of Joe, I'm just thinking of a Mortal Kombat style game of Pete's sci-fi characters, and then the main boss is Wally.
That's funny. That's funny.
You get RoboCop ripping through everybody, and then he's just like, all right, who's next? And then you just Wally.
Not for nothing though. They made bigger versions of Wally, remember? And their whole thing was that they put you in their body and then squished you. So you can just take RoboCop and go,
no!
The vicious fatality.
I'll never watch Wally again. Someone needs to make that a horror movie now.
The original Wally, yeah.
It was between Wally and Stitch, but I figured Wally was a more sci-fi-esque movie, even though I love Stitch. Stitch is my spirit animal.
I tell you what, I will never forget. Stitch was the one voice everybody at lunch tried to emulate because it was so difficult to do. But I did hear murmurs that they're trying to work on a live action, and I'm like, don't do it. I don't think I want to live action.
They already cast who's going to play Lilo. It garnered a shit ton of controversy. She's a young actress. I don't personally know her or anything, but I know when they cast her, people were really, really, really upset over it.
To me, it's not that I don't think it'll be good. It's just I don't want to see a realistic looking Stitch.
Right? Yeah.
I don't. It just
Especially if they try to pre-Sonic it and
right. To me, it's one of those things where it's you look at Sonic and it's well, you can only make him look adorable, right? You look at Stitch and it's there is no adorability about Stitch. It's his personality that's adorable, not the face. No one ever looks at E.T. and goes, that's a pretty looking creature. No.
Horrid.
No. Oh no, he's kind of cute. Those guys,
looks like a old shriveled up man. I don't want to look over and see that shit. Just terrifying to think about. But anyway, great list, Pete.
I still got my number one.
Oh, sure.
Go
ahead.
Got one more.
Remember, Juwaan can't count.
That's true.
Clearly.
I am breaking a rule for this because it's not a movie, but it's still very sci-fi. David Tennant as Doctor Who.
Oh, that's a good one.
And that was a big toss-up between him and Matt Smith, but I was like, nah, I gotta give it to David Tennant.
No, David Tennant. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. David Tennant. I think the first time I ever saw David Tennant was from Jessica Jones.
So you should go back and watch a few of his Doctor Who episodes.
That was my first time kind of seeing him too. It was in Jessica Jones, and I was like, we do not talk enough about this villain when it comes to the Marvel shit.
True.
This villain's crazy.
I think what Tom Hiddleston is to the movies, David Tennant is to the TV series.
David Tennant's more evil than Loki, I think.
Oh,
No.
Yeah. Oh,
I just mean in the respect of that's like the higher caliber of acting in the MCU is what Hiddleston has been able to do consistently. And then what Tennant did in that season 1 was just.
It's because they're British.
Yeah.
They bring in the British guys and they know what they're doing.
That's a power I would like to have too. Just
to be British.
That too, honestly. Like I would just listen to myself talk even more than I do now. But like you just get pissed off at somebody, go over there and stand there forever.
And they literally are
so fucked up. That guy was crying 3 episodes later.
Don't you remember he said that he told someone to go screw themselves, and he's like, "You don't even want to know like what that was." And I'm like, "Oh God."
I forgot about that.
The one that hurt me the most is when he invaded the family's apartment and he put the little girl in the closet, and you saw the pee come from under the closet.
Yeah,
that broke my heart, dude.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the one where he like told the guy to like freaking chop off his own arms or something like that. Like the guy with his partner, and he was like cut off his arms or something.
I'm with y'all, but the 1,000 Cuts one was just like
yeah, that's true.
See, for me, it's going back to the kids. Don't hurt kids, man. And you didn't see it happen, but you saw it happen. You put it together in your mind.
Well, that's because Kilgrave was an asshole.
but to me, I'm with you, Jaydee. But to me, that's the highest form of villainy, right? Because you go adult to adult, it's like okay, but it's when you take that next step up to do it to someone who's completely defenseless that you're like, that's a true villain. Like there is no coming back from that. That's the ultimate.
Nope.
That's why they did it, because otherwise people like me would be like, this guy's too charismatic. I don't not like him. I think he's great.
Because they gave you like a backstory to Kilgrave that maybe you'd be like, oh wow, I'm kind of sympathetic, and then you're like, wait, no, I remember, asshole.
I remember peeing in the closet. That's right.
I remember.
I hate
but if you're not a Doctor Who fan, and I wasn't at first, friend of mine got me into it. If you watch just one episode, watch Blink, or maybe it's called Don't Blink, but with David Tennant with the Weeping Angels. Damn it, that is one of the greatest 1-hour horror movies you'll ever see.
Really?
It is creepy as all hell. It's insane. Don't blink.
I'll make sure that's what I watch, and I'll try my best not to blink while I watch it.
Trust me, you will never look at a statue the same way again.
I will make sure I check that out. Doctor Who. Isn't Doctor Who a woman now?
I believe, Jodie Whittaker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been Haley Atwell, but that's neither here nor there.
I will say it is a large travesty that we have not seen that woman in more things.
You know what I'm saying, man?
I don't know what the world is doing.
Have you not seen the episode of Black Mirror with her in it?
I did, but it's like legit like 1 or 2 things since Captain America that she's been in. And it's just like, I don't know.
Well, she had her own vehicle. She had her own series on ABC for a while.
Yeah. By the way, did you guys know that the scene where Cap comes out of the machine and she's like rubbing on his that was ad-lib?
Help you.
Yeah. I don't blame her. I don't
blame her.
Wait, I'm just picturing Chris Evans on set, just like, is she supposed to do this? Okay, all right.
Well, speaking of like ad lib scenes like that, remember in The Dark Knight Rises where oh my God, Anne Hathaway and Christian Bale are dancing, and she like goes to pull away, and she like leans back and kisses him and goes. Apparently that was ad lib. She was just like, I'm gonna kiss him now. And I was like, same.
Yeah, that definitely could not happen the other way around.
No. Well, I mean, it has happened. Do you guys remember Adrian Brody like freaking kissing Halle Berry at an award show and everything?
No.
That things happened, but years ago at one of oh God, like more than 10 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, it was at the Oscars, and like Adrian Brody was like winning an award for, I think, The Pianist, and Halle Berry was like maybe no, it was when Halle Berry, I'm sorry, I think won her award, and he was presenting, and he full on fucking kissed her. That would never fly today. But go and watch it on like YouTube or look it up. Like that's a thing that no one talks about.
I mean, no one talks enough about Madonna kissing. Was it Britney Spears?
Both, yeah, I mean, both they Britney both
Spears
leaned in for that.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, no one talks about that enough. That's iconic.
Juwaan's like, I would like to talk about it. I don't know.
I would like a full figure it out episode just dedicated to that. But no, moving on, Jaydee, I'll go to you next.
Okay. All right. So the first entry, it's not a one person. But it's a team. And you know how I hate Willy Wonka because of the Oompa Loompas?
Yeah.
Well, I love Time Bandits because of the little crew that are there. That squad of little people that help usher him throughout the whole flick. I mean, they're like, your favorite uncles who are letting you have a beer with them for the first time. So, those are my favorite. That's number 5 on my favorite heroes. I know it's weird. It's out there. It breaks the rules. But watch the Time Bandits if you get a chance, man. I mean, the Time Bandits is a great flick. It's about a kid who is not wanted by his parents, and he journeys through time, and he meets different people that help him grow up. But ushering him through the journey are the little guys, and it's a good flick, man. It's a good kids flick. A little freaky though. Okay, number 4. I'm double dipping here, but Ripley. Let's rock and roll, Mom. Okay, I'm not number 3, not number 4. I mean, not number 1, but we're talking about Ripley from Aliens, the mom who's saving, even though she's not her daughter. That's what it was. That's what he played it at, and that's one of the geniuses of James Cameron, because we're going back to Terminator, and who doesn't love Sarah Connor? Why? Because she's the lioness protecting a cub, and that's how you get male viewership to back a female-led vehicle, right? You make it a mother and a cub story, a lioness and a cub story. All right, so that's number 4. I lost my list here. Okay, number 5. Everybody likes Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, but my guy is Han Solo. I just like the rogue, man. I'm only here for the money, and when there's no more money, I'm out. And just to find a way to do something good, not for money, Han Solo's there, man. Han Solo's the fucking man. Plus, he's got a walking dog, dude.
I love that you pick Han, because in the middle of war, Han just goes, "All right, Luke, I helped you out enough. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here." And Luke's just like, "Whoa, hold on. You're not gonna say and finish it? Nah."
Yeah, but dude, he also breaks down at one point, and we see he's not really all that cool under pressure when they break into the jail cell, and they're hitting him. He's like, "We're okay, we're fine in here. How about you?" That's not communicating that goes down, in a prison system. So he doesn't always have it together. So I like that moment. Somebody who always has it together, though, is, and I just watched this series, be it movie or TV show, I will follow him. I will watch him read a phone book, and I enjoy his commercials with Luke Skywalker for Uber Eats. But Patrick Stewart is Jean-Luc Picard. I mean, make it so. Or even just him going, Logan. I love Patrick Stewart's voice.
Everyone loves, say, Captain Kirk from the original Star Trek, but it's Jean-Luc Picard. Yeah. I'm sorry, he's Jean-Luc, the best captain.
Yeah. Honorable mention before we get to number 1. Lilu Multipass. I mean, great heroine. And was she a female or a male when she was in that first Alien? I don't know, but she was non-binary, whatever you want to call it, because we don't know what they were. So Mila, you did well as Lilu. And then Pete brought him up before, but my number 1 is this guy right here. He will save every one of us, Mr. Flash Gordon. Yes, I'm dating it. It's not a great flick. It's not, but you got James Bond, you got Max von Sydow. You got oh my god, I don't know the lady's name that plays Ming's wife, the Italian hottie, but ooh,
Italian hottie.
What was her? Mina, I don't fucking remember. But yeah, Flash Gordon, great flick, and Flash himself. Even though Sam J. Jones was dubbed throughout the whole flick, I'm okay with it.
I like the list, especially putting Han Solo on there. I just saw Solo: A Star Wars Story the other day, for like the millionth time. It does not get enough credit. It is not a bad movie at all.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And I think the biggest reason why that movie gets so much flack is he's trying to fill shoes that are unfillable. Yeah. It's like whenever they decide to do another Indiana Jones, like when they're finally done with Harrison Ford, whoever that next guy is, he could do an amazing job. Someone will always criticize it because the guy who came before you just can't live up to that. So when you get that out of your mind, there's nothing wrong with that movie whatsoever. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I mean, hell, finding out that Lando was sleeping with robots and
everything. He's pansexual, baby.
Everything. It was just, is that a pillow? Bring it over here. It's just like anything Lando was going for out there, man.
But dude, Glover's the cadence in his voice. When you don't see it, you just hear that smoothness of Lando. Yep. You know, and you're just like, oh, this guy got it, man.
I will say what Billy D. Williams was, I assume, for that time, is easily what Donald Glover could be for this time if he ever wanted. If he wanted to be that smooth and suave, I think he could easily do it. But his personality is so out there that it's like he could never commit to that because he's one of those he's out there, man. Like he's definitely out there. He's what
Billy just had that voice, man.
Yeah. No, but Donald Glover is definitely what I imagine Prince to be. Like if you ever just sat down and just hung out with Prince, that's what I assume Donald Glover's like. It will enlighten you and then make you go, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm interested. Like I don't know what he just said, but I'm so smitten by it. But no, definitely love that list. Tia, next up, what you got for your 5?
All right, so my 5 that I had to come up with really quickly. I like a lot of sci-fi shows, kind of more than I like sci-fi movies. So a lot of these characters do come from shows because you did not say a rule that we could not throw this in. So my first one, I'm going to start off with like my favorite is going to be, and you know, Takeshi from Altered Carbon, especially season 1 Altered Carbon.
Which one was he? Which actress played?
Joel Kinnaman. The guy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He was jacked for that.
Jacked. The best thing about that, because I'm a bit of a fan of Joel Kinnaman's, is like he has this. I had a friend.
I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
Did you say a bit?
A big fan.
Okay.
What's great about like the reason why he's so jacked in that, he has this condition, which I had a friend who has this condition where literally his like chest was caving in, pressing up against his heart, meaning he couldn't work out very well. So he literally got a bar, like 2 bars installed in his chest to like pop the chest out so that like it wasn't pressing against his heart anymore, meaning he could work out more. So that Altered Carbon was like the debut of like, hey, I finally got this life-altering surgery. I can finally work out now, and I'm gonna show off my fucking like 8-pack here and my like 0% body fat.
Yeah,
I forget.
Wow.
I forget what the intimidated watching that.
Oh, me too. I forget what the condition's called, but I had a friend in college who had the same thing, so that's like the only reason why I know about it. But yeah, so I love Takeshi.
Give me the name so I can tell the doctor I got it. So they can install it in my chest.
So I really like that character from Altered Carbon. I'm going to put Curtis from Snowpiercer, played by Chris Evans. Love, as I mentioned before, love that movie, love the character. I'm going into the Star Trek realm because I actually really like Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah. So I'm going to put Lieutenant Data just because I always loved Lieutenant Data. I'm gonna put Jim Hopper because I love Stranger Things, and Jim Hopper is like one of my favorite TV characters today. And I'm going to put Maeve from Westworld, because I really love her, even though I've not watched the third season of Westworld, just because I just wasn't like vibing with what I was seeing from the trailer, but I really love the first 2 seasons of Westworld.
For sure. I like that list, especially Hopper.
Yeah. We're not talking about Stranger Things enough. That's a freaking like awesome mix between horror and sci-fi. And Jim Hopper, like the other day, I forget what store I was in, but remember in the third season of Stranger Things when Jim's all like happy that Mike and 11 are hanging out anymore, and he's singing to like "Don't Mess Around with Jim." That song was playing in the store I was in. I was like, oh, Hopper.
I will say I am interested to see how they market this next season. I can't remember his name. Anyway, one of the kids I was watching had like a movie with Idris Elba that's coming out.
Yeah.
And I was listening to him. What'd you say, Joel?
I said it's out.
Oh, it's out. It's out. Okay.
Concrete Cowboy.
Yes. Yeah. So I was watching a trailer, and I'm like, his voice is like pretty deep. And I'm just like, it constantly reminds me that they're not kids, and them being the adult kids was one of the biggest promotional features of the show. So it's like now they're super older by the time the show actually is gonna come out. So it's like,
Juwaan, I don't know if you remember, but like you and I have been friends for quite a while. And I remember years ago us doing a podcast where you were like, they need to speed things up with Stranger Things because they're getting out of their like cute kid phase.
100%.
And now they're all like really tall and lanky, and the guys, their voices are dropping, and I'm like, I heard something like they're thinking about Stranger Things season 5, and I'm like, they're gonna be in college at that point.
And just so we're clear, it's not that they're kids. It's the idea of how can these children go up against these big bad adults? And it's like the older they get, the less that's the case. And it's more now, all right, how can these adults get past these other adults? And it's just like, cancel it. Just end it. We're done. So no, but putting the Hopper there, and I definitely would say his scenes with 11 in that last season were all top notch. They were all really, really, really good. Him learning to be a dad again and kind of, fumbling it along the way.
I still think that one of the best scenes is in the first season when they finally find Will and he's trying to give him CPR, and it keeps flashing to when his daughter was flatlining. And it was like the desperation in him to try to make sure that, his friend doesn't have to go through what he went through. And I'm like, I love this fucking character. He was the highlight of season 3. And
I'm always a fan of people using towns that no crime really happens. Like you get people that steal pumpkins, like not bank robberies. We need that more. We need that because, we always get, this alien invasion happened like 60 years ago and now it's happened again. Like, no, I like it where it's more so nothing ever happens here. So it kind of amplifies it when it does because no one's prepared for it. Because it's like it doesn't happen. So I'm like, I like when the setting is more so very small, very quiet. Now what are we gonna do that there's now aliens and shit? Like I like that. I like that. All right, Joel, you're gonna end us out for this topic. What's your 5?
Oh baby. Well, I'm gonna start where I started, I think last time. Well, I told you I'd go back to some of these characters, but RoboCop, man, RoboCop's my dude. Not the most recent RoboCop, no offense to you, but wow, the original RoboCop, that RoboCop was the man. Obviously the Terminator, the whatever the fucking number his was, T something.
T-800.
It was the T-800. Right, T-800. That's the only one I always remember T-1000, but that's definitely not the same one. So that's why I was like, I forget which T it is, but yes, the T-800. Riddick, I mentioned that earlier. I really do love that character, and I enjoyed those movies. I would say, did I say Dread? I like
Not
both.
yet.
I know. I don't know how people feel about Sylvester Stallone's version of Judge Dredd, but I love that one too, as a kid. But so I really dig both Dreads. But yeah, definitely the Carl Urban Dredd was next level. Then I would say, I think that's it. I don't really have much more. That was it for me. Yeah, maybe Caesar, like you were saying, because I love the Planet 8 movies, so I love Caesar in those movies. So I guess, and Godzilla, my man. You know.
Oh, of course, Godzilla. The freaking New York Yankees of monsters.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
No, but that's definitely I would have been surprised if he didn't end up on your list because of how much you enjoy Godzilla.
I do.
No, I like the list, and I will say I don't think anything's wrong with Sylvester Stallone's Dredd. The only issue is his Dredd was good because it was the only Dredd. It's when the new Dredd came in that I was just like, oh, maybe he wasn't as great. Like now that we've seen another Dredd, it's like, oh, maybe this role could be done better. Like,
I know. I like. Well, forget it. Dredd was one of my. If we were going to go 5 on the next topic, also, Dredd was one of my 5. So I liked that Dredd. It was campy. It was commercially. It was cartoony.
Yeah,
it was what it was.
Had a good score though too.
I don't think he was bad at all. I'm just saying I think the reason why a lot of people don't speak about his Dredd is that once Urban's Dredd was done, it was just everything about it was just better. It was just better. The movie was better.
It was more gritty.
So right.
It was definitely different for sure.
So I don't think there was anything wrong with what Sylvester Stallone brought though. All right, so let's move on to our last 2 topics. These ones are singular, not 5.
Oh,
singular.
Great! I'm working on the list.
Singular.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, no, just singular. You're good. All right. Favorite non-popular sci-fi movie, and mine is Jumper. Fight me, y'all. Love me some Jumper.
I will not fight.
It honestly was.
I'm with it. I like Jumper.
You know what's crazy? I remember watching X-Men 2 and going, this is like the greatest. Like I wasn't that familiar with Nightcrawler, so I'm like, this is like the dopest shit ever. Like you could just teleport wherever you want. Like this is awesome. And then when Jumper came out, to where it's like a whole bunch of people could do it, I'm just like, what? Like this is what? So I remember leaving that movie kind of going, yeah, can't wait for the sequel. And we're in 2021. What? 15 years later?
Yeah.
No Jumper sequel. But no, I really did like the concept of it. It does kind of have that teen kind of feel to it a little bit. But the overall movie itself, I really, 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 truly enjoy. And yes, I am biased. Hayden Christensen. Sorry. I will never apologize for that. Love that man.
Just apologize for that.
Sorry.
Would you say, Joel?
So you just apologized. Sorry. And then you said, I'm not going to apologize.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I take that then. There you go. No, sorry. Thank you, Joel. But yeah, Jumper makes the list for me as my favorite non-popular sci-fi movie. And by non-popular, I mean you could probably find 6 people that could even remember Jumper. So it is clearly not one of those movies that was a huge fan favorite. No. I love it, and personally would like some of these streaming sites to get the rights to it so I can watch it often. Fucking stupid people. But anyway, Jaydee, I'm gonna go to you. What are you putting up there for your favorite?
12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. Wow.
Wait, wasn't that a sci-fi series too?
Oh my man,
it was.
You're such a good boy. You're such a good young man. You're such a nice young man.
Because I'm like, I know I heard this in more places than just. I'm like, okay. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jaydee.
No, the series takes in a totally different direction, but watch the movie if you can. I really don't want to spoil it because it is just that fucking good. God damn it, Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt bring stellar performances to that flick, man. Madeline Stowe, everybody thinks Madeline Stowe is just a piece of stone, but she does her thing in this flick also. just watch 12 Monkeys, man. 12. You know, and it's like, I don't want to say that the science fiction backdrops or set pieces were abstract, because they weren't. They were everyday pieces just used in different ways. And it just 12 Monkeys, 12 Monkeys, 12 Monkeys. Please. Right. It's a flick that holds up to this day.
Make sure you guys check out 12 Monkeys. I haven't seen it in a while, so I'll make sure I check that out. Again. All right, 12 Monkeys has made it. Jumper has made it. Pete, what you putting on here?
You know I got more than one, so like, why the fuck do you even say this? I tell you what, I'll take my 5. I'll narrow it down to 3, because it's the best I could do. Supernova with Angela Bassett and James Spader, because I like pretty outer space stuff, and that was pretty dope looking.
And I like James Spader.
Angela Bassett looked pretty damn good in that flick too. Not for nothing.
It should have been Storm.
She should have been Storm.
It probably could have been.
Zathura, better known as Space Jumanji.
Thank you. That was on my 5. You bastard. Yes.
So good, right?
Yes.
And I've spent enough time in outer space. I'm gonna bring it back down to Earth, and I'm gonna go further into the inner Earth, the core.
Oh,
I love this movie.
Okay.
Hilary Swank, bro. We accidentally fucked up the core of the Earth and made it stop spinning. So that's thanks to some crazy ass weapon we built. And now they got to drill into this shit with Stanley Tucci, who is just fantastic in everything he does.
I love Stanley Tucci.
He's so good.
Yes.
And they got to take this like train looking ship into the core of the Earth. And it's just absolute cheese. It's so good.
With more affordable Samuel Jackson, Mr.
What
Delroy
is that
Lindo.
His name? He's awesome.
Delroy Lindo. When you can't afford Sam Jackson, you go for Delroy Lindo. Baby.
He's awesome.
I want to see a movie with both of them together.
Yes,
I really do.
That is hilarious. I've never thought of it like that, but it's like,
okay.
Yeah, no, I think you can make an argument for that for sure. It's just thinking of like someone going, no, Sam would be perfect, and it's like, can't afford.
But we can't afford him.
I just picture Jaydee storms in. Don't worry, I got it.
I know Delroy Lindo.
His spidey senses are tingling. Someone needs Samuel Jackson.
Oh man.
But the thing is, what would be fucked up is if they both had the same agent. Listen, if you don't got Sam, you have Delroy. You got the market cornered. You know
Wait, hold on. What's hilarious about that is, Tia, how often do we face that in interviews where we're like, man, I would really love to talk to Tom Hiddleston. And it's like, well, you can't have him, but how would you like this guy no one's ever heard of before? And it's like, oh, no.
Really?
Like,
who did they give you?
Well, no.
No,
it was just like an example, but like,
can I tell?
It's like, oh, go ahead, Tia, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I have been offered like several screeners to like movies that Joel Kinnaman is a part of, but they're like indie films. So I'll like email the person and be like, I'm so excited to read this. Is Joel Kinnaman available for an interview? And they'll be like, he's not, but would you like to interview his co-star? And it's like,
no.
Oh.
No, I always say yes. I'd love to. That'd be great. But let me know if Joel's schedule opens up.
Right, like it's the best way to build up goodwill to where it's like, all right, look, I didn't interviewed everybody in your talent pool. Give me the person I want now.
Give me Joel Kinnaman.
Build up the brownie points, but it's the worst drop off to where it's like, oh man, can I interview Al Pacino? No, but here's a guy that swept the floor in the scene that he. Like, all right, I guess I'll take it. All right, but no, no, but I love though. I love Core. I love Core. Right? I will say I put Hilary Swank in the same bubble as Natalie Portman. Those are two actresses that don't get enough love. And they've been a part of so many, like, I think people forget Heat, The Professional, V for Vendetta, Black Swan, Star Wars, whether you want to count it or not. Now what she's going to be doing in Thor Love and Thunder. Natalie Portman's been in some big shit. and people just kind of just.
You got a lot of geek cred, right? Like, dude, I'm sorry you're bringing that up, but I'm always talking about the guy from Star Wars. We knew him as Porkins, and I don't know his name, and I'm ashamed that I don't know his name, but he has been in so many geek films. He was the guy who got the case from Indiana Jones and tucked the Ark of the Covenant away. He was Porkins, like I said, in Star Wars, right? The only fat pilot. So, I got your back, hands down, baby, right? I'm part of your brethren. He was Harvey Dent in the first Batman film with Michael Keaton. And he was in, I think he was in Logan's Run also. So that guy's got a lot. Not just Natalie Portman. There's so many like B actors and actresses that have so much geek cred that we don't give enough love to. Dude.
I agree. We got it. That's why it's up to us. This show. Man. It's up to this show to remind people. I just saw The Professional for like the 1,000,000th time yesterday, and I'm like, Natalie Portman is like amazing in this. And then like I saw like Heat, and I was just like, oh my God, this was around the same age she was in.
Right.
Could you picture that? Like you get a phone call and it's like, hey, can I get your daughter to do a movie with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro? And it's, yes. Ma'am, I didn't even tell you I don't care. Yes. Put my daughter in that. Like,
but you cross Natalie Portman with Hilary Swank. I wouldn't do that. I'd put Natalie Portman with the anti-Buffy. What's her name?
Anti-Buffy?
Kristen Stewart?
No, not Kristen Stewart. The one that she was in the cheerleading movie with Spider-Man's girlfriend. What's her name?
Kristen Dunst.
Elijah Dushku.
She was in Dollhouse. She was really good in Dollhouse. That's right.
That was a good show. And Alan Tudyk.
Lamb Tudyk, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But I could see Elijah Dushku and Natalie Portman going after those same roles.
And I think Natalie Portman won out though, because you really didn't Natalie Portman she's been in like Oscar-worthy performances. I believe she's been nominated. Elijah Dushku is great of it. What'd you say?
I think she won for Black Swan.
Right. Elijah Dushku, as good of an actress she is, I think probably like roles that she may have tried out for, they're like, we're going to go with Natalie Portman instead.
Right. So if you can't afford Natalie Portman, you get Elijah Dushku.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it works like that sometimes. It works like that.
I'd be happy just to get work. Like you see all these actors who, maybe the only thing you know them as, they play procedural cops on Law and Order for years. And I'm like, man, as long as I'm getting paid. Like, I love Mariska Hargitay, but her really only credits really is playing Olivia Benson for the past 20-something years. Who cares? She is making bank. She's well known. She's like has a steady paycheck. And I'm like, I don't need the whole, I don't want to be typecasted. Typecast me. As long as you're paying me, typecast me.
We're seeing it with Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen's just like, nope, I'll be that same guy for every single movie I'm in. I don't mind. I don't mind. Apparently, Mark Wahlberg's been doing it for forever. But anyway, Pete, was that your whole list?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm missing Tia and Joel. Okay. Tia.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jesus.
Relax. I didn't forget you. I know I often do, but I did not. All right, Tia.
Who do you got for your...
I do be forgetting Tia. I'm sorry. Who are you putting up there on your list?
Mine?
The only one with...
No, Tia. Sorry, Joel.
Oh.
I'm the only one with ovaries on this freaking podcast. How could you forget me? Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Tia.
Okay.
Your non-popular sci-fi movie.
I not only do I think this is unpopular, I think like barely anyone's heard of it. But I'm gonna put down 2010's Monsters. It was directed by Gareth
Edwards. Yes.
And I believe it was his directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken. It stars our man Juwaan, Scoot McNairy, and it's super like low key. It is technically a monster film, even though you really don't see the monsters till the end of the movie. But I like the whole Cloverfield thing. I like that they held that from us. It was more so talking about them, being scared about them, and how it's kind of disrupted the way of life. And you see this whole movie going by until finally the end when you see them. And I didn't think they looked that bad for a 2010 indie film. And I really enjoyed it. I watched the movie just because Juwaan knows this. If I get into an actor, I'm like, now I must see everything in their filmography. I don't care if it's shit or not. So me discovering Scoot McNairy, seeing this movie, and I'm like not expecting really to like it, but overall I liked it a lot. I think it had a great story. It put me on to Gareth Edwards as a director. So yeah, that's going to be my my like non-popular sci-fi movie.
I like it. I like it. Joel, what are you going with to end this out?
I got two good ones. I can't imagine anybody except me has liked these movies, but whatever. Honestly, I liked Chappie. I know a lot of people did not like Chappie, but I liked.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I don't know, kind of like it kind of reminded me of like a modern day Johnny Five type of thing.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't hate it, so I know a lot of people give it some shit. And the other one was After Earth. I actually watched it one time on a plane, and I'm like, that's not as bad as people said it was. And I enjoyed that.
One with Will Smith and his son, right?
Yeah, that one.
It wasn't terrible. Like I wouldn't put it as like a favorite of mine. I'll never probably watch it again. But right. I watched it and I was like, I have seen so many sci-fi movies kind of like this. I'm like, so to say it's like worse than a lot of like, say, other sci-fi movies, I'm like, I don't know, you just maybe really dislike Will Smith and his son or something.
After I watched it, I'm like, they just hate it because of Will and his kid. But I'm like, it wasn't that bad. Jesus.
Well, I will definitely say I did not enjoy After Earth. I do enjoy Will Smith. I do think Jayden's in the preferred profession that he should be in, which is music. It did confuse. I was just like, whoa, is this the same kid that Will was holding the door closed with? Like this kid? Oh, okay, all right, yeah, no, don't act anymore.
Okay.
I think the biggest problem I had with After Earth was I kind of feel like the trailer tricked me. I kind of feel like the trailer was just like, get ready for Will Smith.
Yeah.
And
then it was just like, all right, get ready for just Will Smith's son. And it was like,
I will say that was the biggest like negative really that I took away, because the visuals were fine. Right. The story was pretty good. It's like the biggest thing was like, oh, you expected to see Will Smith out there more, and he was out of commission like the entire movie.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned Zoe Kravitz.
I don't even know.
I forgot.
She was in it.
She was in it?
She played the sister that died that Will Smith blamed him for.
Wow.
She was really great in Big Little Lies.
Oh shoot. I forgot to put this on my list earlier. Which by the way, Joel, Chappie does make it in top 100 sci-fi movies.
Really?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people hated that movie. But I like it.
There.
Nobody mentioned Cloud Atlas? No? Nope.
I don't know that one.
Never watched Cloud Atlas.
No, I know Cloud Atlas. Yeah, I know Cloud Atlas.
Nobody. The Wachowskis' last sci-fi flick.
But the movie I forgot to mention on my list, and then we're gonna get into our last topic, was which is I'd say probably my favorite over Jumper. I might even want to switch and take Jumper out. Tron Legacy. Fucking loved Tron Legacy. Everything about it. So much so I watched the fucking animated series that came out after that. It was not good, but
did you watch Tron?
Yes, I did watch Tron. Yeah,
okay.
I think Tron.
Jaydee was about to throw hands if you said like
that.
No. Because I enjoyed it so much when I found out there was another one that existed. I was like, I'm gonna watch this one. I was like, I like it. I mean, I still prefer Tron Legacy, but I really did enjoy the original Tron. They need to make more of the Trons. I mean, come on. Just what you can do with visual effects today, that is the one movie that would just eat up all of it. But all right, heading into our last topic. And Joel, actually, Ready Player One made it pretty high too.
Well, that one I knew I know people liked it. I don't know how many people liked it, but that's awesome.
And another one that people give a lot of flack to, but it's not the worst thing ever. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
That's the Tom Cruise one, right?
No, that's Keanu Reeves.
No, the Keanu.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. I remember
I'm
seeing
just
it
saying it wasn't the worst thing ever. I'm not saying give it awards, but it wasn't the worst thing. All right. In our night, we're gonna go favorite sci-fi director. Pete, singular. Favorite sci-fi director.
It was a struggle to get even one because I'm not like a director's kind of guy. I'll follow actors, but
same.
So I had a look for this one, and I have a feeling me and Joel might end up with the same guy. Paul Verhoeven is. I'm going to give it to him for RoboCop, Total Recall, Starship Troopers. For God's sakes,
Starship Troopers.
And I forgot about that one altogether. But yeah, I'll give it to him because I'm just not a. I mean, I like John Carpenter. You know, he's dope. And I was reading a really great comic series, like sci-fi horror called John Carpenter Presents, and it's like Tales of Science Fiction. But he didn't write this shit. He's just like, you know, they put his name on it to sell the books.
Right.
And it's got like a bunch of dope writers. But if anybody's looking for like a few short story horror sci-fi stuff, like along the lines of Event Horizon, you could a lot worse than just check out that series. It's a bunch of different stuff.
I love how Paul Verhoeven's trait is going over the top with fascist propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's his sign. You know what I mean?
Might I also add that he directed Showgirls, which when I was 13 was a fantastically amazing movie.
Yes, it was.
I wonder why.
I was a big fan of Saved by the Bell, and Elizabeth Berkley was my favorite gal. Everybody was a Kelly Kapowski fan. I liked Jessie.
Yeah, I was a Kelly guy.
I tell you what, and Joel and Tia can speak to this. I am never a fan of a lot of what happened in that movie. Yeah. But if there were ever an exception to the rule, it would be that movie.
All Juwaan always says, he's like, I don't like sex scenes in movies or TV shows. I don't like it at all. I hate when they do that. And yet now he's like, oh, but Showgirls though.
Yeah, because again, I saw that it was on Showtime, and it was back when you had to put in a passcode to watch stuff with MA on cable.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
My parents didn't give a fuck about me.
I tell you what, trying to crack the passcode is why I thought I could easily crack safes. Like, it was the idea of like, all right, if I can figure out these combinations, I could do it anywhere. But no, yes, that was oof. That pool scene.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you meant. Oh yeah,
yep.
A lot of splashy.
Anyway, anyone who's listening that's like, I don't know what you're talking about, just don't watch it with your family. Don't be like, oh, these guys are telling me about a family movie. No. I'd say don't even necessarily watch it with your significant other. Like, it might make things uncomfortable. But anyway, I like that, Pete. I'm going with, and again, I'm kind of like you, not really big into directors when it comes to sci-fi. I'm into directors for other things, but I'm going Ridley Scott purely off.
God damn you!
Oh, you got Ridley Scott, Jaydee?
No, yeah, go for it.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna give different reasonings, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So my reason I'm going with Ridley Scott was I always appreciate people who are taking a project that already exists that is all-time famous, right? He very easily could have marketed Prometheus off of the back of Alien, to where you're marketing it so people know it, so they're coming out to see it. He made Prometheus to where you had no idea what the hell that movie was about. True. So the end credit scene where you actually see the alien. I love that because it was really Scott's way of saying, I can make it off my own stuff. I don't have to market it off of something that already existed. And then he totally fell into that with Covenant, where it was purely off the back of Alien. But I always commend him for what he did with Prometheus and his show. Was it something with wolves or whatever that show is?
Oh, Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
What an amazing show! What an amazing show. So yeah, Ridley Scott makes it for me. I was really proud of what he did with Prometheus. Still love that movie. But I'm sorry, Jaydee. Go ahead.
No. You know what? I'll give it to you with that, and I will go a different way. a different style of sci-fi, and I will go with George Miller.
George Miller, nice.
Okay, and his Mad Max series was, Mad Max. But what a lot of people don't know is George Miller produced a lot of other films besides Sci-Fi, and he produced films like Happy Feet and Babe and Dead Calm and stuff like that. So yeah, but his directorial stuff was that, and you know, he had a shot at the Justice League, and there's a cast photo of his Justice League where Common was Jon Stewart. I'm sorry, Armie Hammer was Batman. The kid from the OC that Brad Pitt and Angelina went after, and Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I forgot what his name was. He was the Flash. A George Miller alum, Hugh Keansburn, who was Toe Cutter in the very first Mad Max film, and he was Lord Humongous in the last Mad Max film. He was going to be Martian Manhunter. I believe it was Henry Cavill that was going to be Superman.
It was some Spanish dude.
That's right. It was the dude that was one of the 5 Shazams.
Yes.
That he was in the G.I. Joe flick. I forgot his name. Oh my god.
Fuck, Jay something? I forget.
He's got two initial.
Jaydee Cardona.
Yeah,
Did
something
you
like
say
that.
Corona?
Cardona. Yeah. So he's gonna be Superman.
DJ Cardona, right?
There we go.
Cartrona.
Yes.
Cotrona. Sorry. Yeah, got it.
So yeah, man. So I would have loved to have seen his Justice League.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. To me, like, and I'm not a big fan of you created something and now we're giving you a chance to do an extended version or a fleshed out version. Whatever you gave is what you gave. And that's back to school. You turn in your homework, that's it. Teacher doesn't go.
Except for apparently when it comes to Zack Snyder. Because
remember, I wasn't a fan of that until I found out it was actually real. It was just like, oh, okay, all right. I didn't think it was. But to me, it's the idea of that's a cut we need to get trending. Like the George Miller cut. Give us the George Miller.
But
it wouldn't really happen because they can't get Armie Hammer back.
Well, no, you can always recast that. I'm sure he would find something to fit that. Yeah. But no,
he totally killed his career.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
You know what's crazy about George Miller, Jaydee? His newer, what's the movie? Mad Max made like the high sci-fi list. His originals were really nowhere to be found on the all-time list for sci-fi.
See, that's hard because they were solid flicks.
Right.
The very first one was ahead of its time, but it fit into that same grittiness as Warriors. It just had that same, cinematography style. It was the 70s, and almost everything that came out in the 70s was fucking creepy. And then you got the Road Warrior, which influenced G.I. Joe. I mean, we wouldn't have Dreadnoughts the way we have Dreadnoughts if it wasn't for that. So come on. And then goddamn Tina Turner as a bad guy in Beyond Thunderdome. I don't care. She killed it. I loved it. One of my favorites and one of the best lines ever in cinema. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. I mean, just for that line alone, it should be in the top 100.
For sure. Tia, I'm going to go to you, but really quickly, I want to give a shout out to Luc Besson. I and maybe one other person loved Valerian in a city.
That's what I was right. Yeah. I don't remember the full title.
I loved it so much. I so regret that I didn't see it in theaters. It's one of my top 5 regrets when it comes to movies I didn't see in theaters. It's really good. He does light up a world. He really does. I don't know what he did with the movie Anna, but Valerian, he tore that shit up. That was good. And I am a Dane DeHaan fan, so it's like,
I don't like Dane DeHaan.
You don't like Dane DeHaan?
Really?
Yeah, I don't like him.
I like him. You guys didn't see The Stranger on Quibi, which I know like Quibi was like a dead app, but he was in this show called The Stranger, and he was so fucking good in it. He was so creepy. I was like, why is this guy?
Our show on Amazon.
Right. That just came out, right?
000, right? Is what you're talking about? Yeah. No, he was good at it, but I'm just saying, like, in The Stranger, he played, like, this, like, psychotic, like, stalker killer, and it was like, oh, he needs to be cast more for these, like, horror roles. He was really good in it.
I refuse to let Amazing Spider-Man 2 be dangerous.
Yeah, that ruined it for me, dude.
Yeah, I will not allow that to be that man's legacy. He is greater than his worst day. But Jaydee, I am glad me and you are on the same accord. Luc Besson for Valerian. That was a
hell yeah.
All right, Tia. What do you got for sci-fi director?
I really struggled with this one because, like Pete, I don't really like look at directors, especially when it comes to sci-fi movies. That's like, it was so hard. So I kind of like copped out a little, and you're gonna hate my pick, but I don't care. So I was just gonna put Christopher Nolan down. I loved Memento. I loved Inception. I loved Tenet. It's like, and you could say that, I know it's like not a lot, but again, it's like he is the director that for like sci-fi movies I've seen say like the most consistent, because I am not just familiar with like others. So it's like I looked up directors and it was like Steven Spielberg. I'm like, that's so like just like that's a real cop out and cliche to be like Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, so it's like, all right, I went with Christopher Nolan, which I know you're gonna hate it, but that's like my throwaway.
I love the pick of Christopher Nolan. I still am of the firm belief that Memento is hands down his best movie.
Memento is great.
I disagree. I liked it a lot. I did like it. It was genius for the time, but I feel The Prestige was his best movie.
Oh yes, okay. I won't argue that. To me, it's a 1A, 1B. I can take either or. I'm fine with that. To me,
it's the only Batman versus Wolverine fighting over Black Widow.
I mean, come on now. Come on. I mean, you couldn't argue over a better person, right? But I will say the only reason why Inception doesn't rank high for me is the idea of when it comes to movies like that, to me, the story is what has to drive you, not the visuals and whatnot. Your story at the end of the day has to be what drives me. And that's what Memento was driven on, was purely story. That's what Prestige to a degree was purely story. When you bring in the other elements, it's like, all right, what are people more flocking to? How beautiful and twisted it looks, or the actual heart of your story?
I'll agree with you. Like, Memento's my favorite. I just love it. I think honestly that's probably my favorite Guy Pearce movie.
Okay, I'll stick with that.
But whatchamacallit it, like with Inception, I did like the story, and I especially like the ending, because to this day I still don't know if he's in reality or if he's still in the dream. So it's like the fact that like I'm still like confused and thinking about it on like that, to me it's like, yes, the visuals were cool, but I did very much like the story in that.
Go ahead.
And Tom Hardy was in it, so
Go ahead, Jaydee. I want to follow up with that.
No, because I want to go back to you, Juwaan, with something we spoke about the other day. Inception didn't work for me because we got the answer a few films before with Shutter Island.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But no, I mean, and Joel, I'm going to go to you to close this out on the show. But I always told because my dad always says to me all the time, he doesn't understand why superhero movies or movies like sci-fi or whatever don't get Oscar nods. And I told him, for me, my reasoning, this is not the actual reasoning, just my opinion. To me, when you give me a sci-fi or a superhero movie, to me, that's what makes it. Is the visuals, is the stuff like that. That to me is a cheat code. I can't knock a movie that is just story driven and achieves the goal. When you come in and you're like, here's flashing lights and here's an alien and here's magical swords, and it's like, well, that's what's selling your movie, not the story. So to me, when it comes to Oscars, I look for it to be very much, what did a story do to carry the movie that fans loved? So to me, I kind of just see sci-fi, not necessarily sci-fi, but like superhero movies is a bit of a cheat code. And that's where my differ of Inception and Memento come from, because it's like, well, was it the illusion of Inception that drew you, or was it the actual story? Because Memento was just driven by just a story. There was no other kind of elements to it. So that's kind of where I went there with it. But I understand Inception's a great movie. I'll never knock it for it being that. But of Nolan's, I always shoot for either Prestige or Memento. And I just the other day, Jaydee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great flick.
Really, really, really good. Because it definitely, talk about leaving you with your jaw on the ground. It's just when you see the end of that, you're just like
100%.
You're just like, how did he do this 2 movies in a row? And then that's why by the time you get to Inception, you're kind of just like, yeah, this is just the trend now. But like when you see Memento and then Prestige, you're just like, how does a mind think like that? Like, I would have never revert.
Memento doesn't get talked about enough, like at all.
Guy Pearce doesn't get talked about enough.
Guy Pearce definitely doesn't get talked about enough, and I'm like, I get it. Yeah, he was in Iron Man 3, and people don't like Iron Man 3. I was like, but freaking, he's been in a lot more things other than that. He was in The King's Speech, Memento, freaking, I can't think off the top of my head, but like, he was in Lawless. Did you ever see Lawless? Yep. He was like one of the creepiest villains in a movie I've ever seen. Like, I'm sorry. To me, certain...
No, I just he had a transformation that I've not seen since Chris Pine in Smoking Aces. No one ever remembers that Chris Pine was in Smoking Aces.
Of course I do.
Nothing like Chris Pine.
That was the first flick that Chris Pine, I think I saw him in.
Yeah.
Was Smoking Aces.
That, by the way, that movie's budget had to be stupid high. Everybody that was hot at that time was in that movie. Everybody. Everybody. And it's just like how you talk Ben Affleck into what happens to him in that movie.
I know.
Like, I didn't read that script and go, okay.
Jason Bateman had a lesser role too.
Yeah, he did. And I will always say, and again, I'm leaving out spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the way Ryan Reynolds ends that movie is always beautiful to me. The way that movie hits hard as he's doing it, filmmaking, love it. All right, Joel, to end this out, what director are you going with?
Well,
Scott. All right, good show. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Definitely not really Scott. I was gonna go Steven Spielberg, but I got shitted on before I even got to it.
It was just like, you're lazy if you say Steven Spielberg.
No, I was saying like me, like I felt like I would be lazy because like, I don't know directors that much, so it'd just be a cop out. I'm sorry.
That's an easy one. That's an easy one for sure, but yeah. So I went a different direction after I was shunned, and Villeneuve, and that man is beast. He's a modern day science fiction giant. He's doing Dune right now. That movie looks fucking insane. I can't wait to see that thing. And he's just, and like he did the most recent Blade Runner, and he did Sicario, I think the Prisoners, I think.
Sicario was so great.
All those
Prisoners. Movies. Oh my god. So good.
Then he's my guy.
I love that pick. And what you just said about Dune, if you watch the original Dune, right, it's somewhat of a snooze fest. What he looks like he's able to do with his version of Dune, to where it's like, it's way more action driven than just like, all right, we're in the desert trying to do some stuff. Like, his looks like it'll engage you. And
he got Jason Momoa. That's like all I needed to hear.
He said the wrong name. He got
Timothy. A lot of acting.
I'm sorry. No, stop with that, man. People,
Oscar Isaac.
You got Oscar Isaac. You got Zendaya. And have you seen Oscar Isaac training?
Yes.
Yes.
What?
That looks dope.
I cannot wait for that.
I'm just saying Timothy Chalamet is overrated.
Okay, I'm not gonna go into that. But I tell you right now, when they release the photos of Oscar Isaac in that Moon Knight suit, I might literally spook myself. Like right where I'm at.
Are we gonna get the 3-piece suit, or are we gonna get the Batman knockoff?
Can I say this, Jaydee? I told Joel, I want to see both. I want to see both. That 3-piece suit is an iconic look. Even if it's just for one episode, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I want to see both. I definitely want to see both. Especially, I told Joel, the aesthetic of Moon Knight in all white and then seeing the red blood stains in that all white.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to visually pop. I need that. Yeah. I so need that. But all right, guys, that's what we got for this first half of our sci-fi show. We'll be doing sci-fi fantasy at some point, maybe not next week. I don't know. I'm really playing along with Pete's conspiracy theories. It's all I've been thinking about since he said it.
Wait, but what kind of like conspiracy? Government conspiracy, movie conspiracy.
Where do you want to go, Tia? We can go anywhere. We can go government, we can go aliens.
I want to get so deep into conspiracy theories, we get removed from YouTube.
I was going to say, like, are the FBI going to show up at our freaking doorstep type of conspiracy theory?
Not for nothing. Do you remember when YouTube went down worldwide for like, I don't know, whatever it was, 15, 20 minutes or something like that, and everybody freaked out? Mm-hmm. First thing I did was start looking at some of my usual haunts, and at least 4 of them were gone out of the blue, just gone.
Yep.
Some of them wound up on Gaia, which is a great website if anybody wants to check out.
I thought you said Goya. I was going to say, they make good stuff.
That's a rabbit hole, but...
Pete, you should watch. There's these 2 YouTubers. One of them's called Nexpo, and the other is Nick Crowley, and they do like all sort of like deep web conspiracy Reddit like things. Like, and I was
Nick
never.
Crowley sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's like growing his channel. He's about like 500,000 or something, and like, God, one day I just started watching. And I was like, what's going on? I need to know the answers here. So like check those 2 YouTubers out. It's crazy.
Theories, whenever you go into them, it's never like, oh, I just watched one video and then I went to sleep. It's like, dude, I'm 9 videos in and my eyes are like so heavy. But no, I love it. We'll get into that. But the show I'm most excited for is the one where we get into the show Invincible. I cannot wait to do that. This last episode was bee's knees. Woof was an episode.
Thank you, Mahershala Ali. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And shout out to my boy Jeffrey Donovan, who was Machine Man. He was the voice for Machine Man.
Oh, okay.
Jeffrey Donovan. What did he do?
He was in Burn Notice. The show Burn Notice. That was like
a good show.
It was like a modern A-Team, honestly.
Okay.
What it ended up being. But yeah, so make sure you guys check out the latest episode.
We should do we should definitely do most overrated actars episode.
I won't be here for that one. No, thank you. I know where Tia's going. No, thank you.
Why are you bringing up? Well, I'm not going to mention. The 2 Australian actors who were groomed to take over. Jai Courtney.
Yep.
Oh, I hated Jai Courtney and Sam Worthington. Oh, if I could fight 2 people in this world, I would fight both of them.
Thank you.
Oh, Anthony Mackie is slowly climbing that list for me. I'm like, oh, you're getting in that Sam Worthington conversation.
I don't know, because yes, Altered Carbon 2, he killed the series for me.
Yeah.
But,
Well, Juwaan and I did. Can I tell you this? Juwaan and I were big fans of Altered Carbon season 1. So when Altered Carbon season 2 came out, we're like, all right, we're gonna watch it. We'll do a review. I swear, if you go back and listen to that review, I don't think we had like one nice thing to say. And we like. He said that it ended.
Yeah, that was the best.
Yeah, it was just like. The whole time was like, I miss Joel Kinnaman. I miss Joel Kinnaman too.
The whole time I'm watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm just like, only 2 left. Only 2 left. Only 2 left. Only
Don't blow
2 left.
Don't blow it.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you guys for tuning into this all new episode of Figure It Out. We did not do what we usually do. We didn't have any sci-fi figures, so we'll make sure that we make up for it when we do our fantasy episode. But I did show off a little bit of Fantastic Four, and that is sci-fi, so we got a little bit in there.
Yeah, he has.
Ben Grimm. By the way, Joel, I am coming over for those Transformers. Don't think I forgot. I did not. Get my McDonald's figures ready, Joel. But all right, guys.
What's that? Oh,
Steven
Tennant.
That's funny.
Look at that. We got
so cute.
We got some figures in.
We got some figures in. But thank you guys very much. Please check out all new from Pete's Basement. We broke down Godzilla vs. King Kong. And literally everything else in the geek realm of stuff to talk about. Make sure you guys check that out. Tia has at least 1 million interviews on Pete's podcast page. Legit 1 million. I think America's running out of people for Tia.
I still haven't gotten Joel Kinnaman yet. The day that happens.
You know what? We got to make sure Tia never gets that. We saw what happens when you get all the Infinity Stones. We can't.
So can I tell you really quick? I'm sorry to prolong us anymore, but it's like Joel Kinnaman, John Bernthal, Pablo Schreiber, Chris Evans, and I'm trying to think and Scoot McNairy. Once I get those 5, be like, well, it's been a really great run at GBN. I got out of it what I needed to.
I got out of it while I was on top. Funny. I did everything I needed to. But I'm just picturing when she does that, like her eyes will glow, like she'll start like spouting some crazy language you've never heard of before. But no, make sure you guys check that out. Me and Joel did Much Ado About Nothing yesterday. Make sure you check that out. And make sure you guys are checking out Jaydee's comics. Pete sold you on it last week, okay? When we did our episode, go check it out. Unstoppable Comics, right, Jaydee?
Unstoppablecomics.com. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Checking it out. Absolutely. And I will tell you right now, outside of Hasbro, Jaydee's got the best figures in the game. So
you mean
checking that out.
You mean this coming soon? Since we're going to be hitting our 13th year anniversary. I got to update you. We finalized all our images from the sculptor.
Make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. I always said this. I always said if Toy Soldiers were to happen, my house, Jaydee's house, and Pete's house would be like the worst places to live if our toys came to life. And we're just like, you know what? I'm sick of this shit.
Oh yeah, they'd be like, I've seen the shit you do, my man.
Look, all I see is like Pete is just like surrounded by them. You'd be doomed. Look at you.
Are you serious? My goodness.
The weapons are not but 4 feet that way. It just takes one little jump.
No,
I got this.
I will say if my toys came alive, I would have to put tape over their mouths. They don't need to be saying shit. Anyway, make sure you guys stay tuned for an all-new episode next week of Figure It Out. Thank you all for joining me. Tia joining us once again. Thank you to Joel, Jaydee, and Pete. And we'll see you guys same time, same place next week. So then, peace.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Hello with everybody.